Devil King after that, Lu Ming also retreated. When the other 9 tribes of the ancient god descendants received the news, they also went all out to prepare for war. They gathered all the powerful tribe members who had gone out and set up layers of defense around the tribe. The demons of the northern desolate demon plains were extremely terrifying and powerful. There were many demons and devil kings, and their overall strength was about the same as the 10 great tribes of the ancient god descendants. That was why the 2 sides had been fighting for countless years, and neither side was able to do anything to the other. However, if the experts from the Qin Heaven Starfield were added, the balance would be broken. The Qin Heaven Star region had sent over a dozen god kings. Furthermore, the god kings that entered were all extremely powerful existences. A dozen powerful god kings, countless heavenly god realm experts, and the demons of the demon plains were enough to wipe out the descendants of the ancient gods. This was a life and death crisis for the descendants of ancient gods. The 10 tribes were nervously preparing for war. Just like that, half a month passed. However, there seemed to be no movement in the northern desolate demon field. There's still no movement. Could the news be fake? Yeah, could we have been tricked? Some people from the 10 tribes started to discuss. But roar, roar, roar. The roars of demons and devils came from the north, completely crushing the doubts. From the demon plains of the northern wilderness, countless demons emerged and attacked the 10 tribes of the ancient god descendants. Among the countless demons, he could even see the figures of experts from the Qin Heaven Star region. Boom! 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 Outside the 8th tribe, countless demons were swarming toward the 8th tribe. There were so many of them that they were endless. The number of demons was even greater than the number of demons that had attacked the Ice Soul clan's base decades ago. Roar! Roar! A few earth-shaking roars came from the back of the troops of the monster race and demon race. A few huge creatures appeared in the void in the distance, but their terrifying pressure made everyone feel breathless. That was the Demon King. The king of monsters and demons was equivalent to the king of gods, an existence at the divine king realm. Kill. Defeat the descendants of the ancient gods for me. You can enjoy all the descendants of the ancient gods. The voice of a demon king reverberated through the entire area. It was said that as long as a demon devoured a descendant of an ancient god and fused with the bloodline of the ancient god, it would be able to develop intelligence. The demons that had gained intelligence in the northern wilderness demon field had devoured the descendants of the ancient gods. It was no wonder that this time, the demons would join forces with the experts of the Qin Heaven Starfield. They had gained from each other. The demons wanted to devour the descendants of the ancient gods, while the experts of the Qin Heaven Star system wanted the treasures of the descendants of the ancient gods. Boom! 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 Roar! Roar! Countless demons roared and charged toward the 8th tribe with bloodshot eyes. Kill, kill all these demons! The warriors of the 8th tribe shouted. They stood on the city wall, took out their bows, and shot out arrows. The power of these arrows was shocking. Some of the stronger demons were pierced by the arrows and nailed to the ground. However, the number of demons was endless. They kept coming like a tide. Soon, the 2 sides engaged in close combat. All the descendants of the ancient gods who could transform into ancient god bodies did so. On the city wall of the 8th tribe, tall and majestic figures appeared one after another. They roared into the sky and waved all kinds of weapons, fighting against the demons. Lu Ming transformed into an ancient god body at once. He thrust his spear continuously, killing the demons one after another. Roar! Roar! An earth-shaking roar resounded. The demonic Devil King had made its move. It rushed over from the sky with a terrifying aura that covered the sky and earth. It was extremely terrifying. Kill! A few figures also rushed out from the 8th tribe. Each of them was more than 100 meters tall. They were the god kings of the 8th tribe. The divine kings of both sides engaged in a terrifying battle in the sky. It was difficult to determine the winner when they fought. However, after a while, a figure the size of an ordinary person appeared in the distance, stepping on the air and emitting a terrifying pressure. God King, yet another God King. The God King of the unique Devil Academy. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. Lu Ming was very familiar with this divine king. Back then, he was the one who led the people from the unique Demon Academy to the Ice Soul Clan's base in an attempt to kill Lu Ming. How could Lu Ming forget this? The God Kings of the unique Devil Academy joined the battle. Immediately, the battle was in the Monster Demon Clan's favor. The God Kings of the 8th tribe were gradually losing. In the end, the God King of the 8th tribe could only retreat in defeat. He returned to the 8th tribe and activated the formation to resist the demon's attacks. With the help of the formation, the 8th tribe was able to stop the demon's attack. Buzz. Whoosh. Outside the formation, a few enormous demons and devil kings, as well as the God Kings of the unique Devil Academy, were standing outside. They were watching coldly. Suddenly, another tall figure walked over from another direction. The God King of the inextinguishable sword sect. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. Yet another God King had arrived. The number of God Kings in the 8th tribe was no longer comparable to that of the other side. Attack. Break their formation. The God King of the indestructible sword sect said coldly. Following that, a terrifying sword light shot into the sky, as if it was going to split the entire universe in half, and slash towards the 8th tribe. Boom! 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 The sword light struck the formation, causing it to shake violently. Attack! At the same time, a few demonic kings and god kings of the unique Devil Academy also made their moves. All sorts of terrifying attacks landed on the great array, causing it to shake violently. If it were not for the god kings of the 8th tribe working together to control the formation would have already been broken under the attack of so many god kings. Even so, it was very difficult for them to resist. Boom! 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 Outside, the attacks continued for more than an hour before they stopped. Retreat. Then, a devil king gave an order. The countless devil kings retreated and stood in the distance, looking over coldly. The Yaoma did not give up. They retreated to rest and recover. When they recovered to their peak state, they would definitely continue to attack. As expected, 2 days later, the experts from the Monster Demon Clan, the Unique Demon Academy, and the Immortal Sword Sect launched another attack. After attacking for a period of time, they would retreat and recover. We can't continue like this. The energy of the formation will be exhausted sooner or later. If the formation is broken, we won't be able to stop them. In the 8th tribe, a group of experts gathered together to discuss some matters. An old man sighed. Then what should I do? Is our clan really going to be exterminated this time? The other old man was filled with sorrow. Our tribe must not be destroyed. In our current situation, we can only retreat to the number 1 tribe and join forces with them. Only then will we have a chance of survival. The chief of the 8th tribe said. What? If we retreat, then we'll have to give up our ancestral land that has been passed down for countless years? Someone said in a trembling voice. The 8th tribe had been their ancestral land for countless years. There were all kinds of sacred cultivation grounds and blood pools, which were the source of their prosperity. It would be a great loss to give up on them. Chapter 2845 Identity exposed. No matter how important the ancestral land is, it still needs people to live. Only with people alive can the tribe be preserved for eternity. The patriarch of the 8th tribe had a determined expression, and his voice was decisive. The other elders all sighed. Actually, it's not just our 8th tribe. Some other tribes also need to prepare to retreat to the first tribe. Among the 10 tribes, the first tribe is the strongest. Only by uniting all the other tribes can we fight against the demons and the outsiders. Otherwise, we will be defeated one by one. The chief of the 8th tribe spoke again. All right, I agree to retreat. I also agree. In the end, all the elders nodded and agreed to retreat. In the current situation, the only way to survive was to retreat. Otherwise, they would die sooner or later. Prepare to retreat. The orders of the 8th tribe's chief quickly spread throughout the entire tribe. Although many people were unwilling to do so, they had no choice but to retreat. The formation continued to be activated, and all the people of the 8th tribe retreated to the first tribe from another exit. Lu Ming moved with the army. The first tribe was the strongest of the 10 tribes and the tribe with the longest history. It was said that it was close to the core of the ancient god descendants. In the past, Lu Ming had also come here to spar with experts. Without a doubt, the first tribe was also caught in the flames of war. However, the people from the other tribes kept retreating to the first tribe, which greatly increased the strength of the first tribe and finally stabilized the situation. However, in comparison, the demons that were attacking the other tribes had also gathered. The first tribe was also facing a great problem. They had to activate their formation to resist. As time passed, all the tribes retreated to the first tribe. Without a doubt, those tribes were all occupied by the demons and the Qin Heaven 13 clans. The people from Qintian No. 13 High School, the Ice Soul Clan, and the Scarlet Flame Clan are almost all here. Standing on the majestic city wall, Lu Ming looked outside and saw the Qin Heavenly 13 clans, the Ice Soul Clan, and the Scarlet Flame Clan. However, he did not see any familiar faces. For example, Ouyang Xiangxiang, Yu Linglong, Bing Qing, and so on. Outside the first tribe, the demons were roaring like thunder and attacking with all their might. On this day, Gu Hongshan went to look for Lu Ming. Lu Ming, the clan leaders are looking for you. Gu Hongshan said. Is there something the patriarchs need from me? Lu Ming was a little stunned. The tribe leaders were looking for him? What for? I don't know either. The clan leader asked me to come and find you. Gu Hongshan was also confused. Let's go. Lu Ming nodded and followed Gu Hongshan to a huge stone hall. Lu Ming, you can go in alone. You can't go in without my order. Gu Hongshan said. All right. Lu Ming nodded and walked into the hall with doubts. In the hall, there were 2 rows of seats, and some people were sitting on each row. There was also a person sitting on the main seat. These people all looked quite old, but their auras were extremely powerful, like an abyss, unfathomable. There were 10 people in total, and the patriarch of the 8th tribe was among them. The chiefs of the top 10 tribes of the ancient god. Lu Ming understood that this was the clan leader of the 10 tribes of the ancient god. Lu Ming greets the clan leaders. May I know why you're looking for me? Lu Ming cupped his fists at the 10 clan leaders. The 10 pairs of eyes swept across Lu Ming, as if they wanted to see through him. Lu Ming, you're not the descendant of the ascetics but an outsider. The clan leader of the first tribe suddenly spoke, causing Lu Ming's heart to beat wildly. He had been exposed. Lu Ming's first reaction was that his identity had been exposed. What to do? Lu Ming's mind was racing, but he did not say anything. Lu Ming, although you can fool others, you can't fool old people like us. Your various methods show that you're from the outside world. You must be from the race that guards the world gate from the outside world, right? The leader of the first tribe spoke again. The other 9 tribe leaders looked at Lu Ming with bright eyes. The race that guards the world gate? What did that mean? Are they talking about the descendants of the ancient gods outside the ancient gods mountain? That must be the case. The bronze door is the door of the world they are talking about. The descendants of the ancient gods mountain are guarding that door. In an instant, many thoughts flashed through Lu Ming's mind. He then nodded and said, not bad. I knew it. You're from the guardian race. However, so many years have passed. Is your race still doing well? The first clan leader asked. Lu Ming shook his head. Not good. My race is very weak outside. After so many years, many inheritances have been lost. I don't know many things of the descendants of the ancient gods. Since the other party thought that he was from the clan guarding the bronze door, he might as well pretend to be from that clan. Moreover, Lu Ming had come into contact with that clan. That clan did not even know about the bronze door, let alone the world and secrets behind it. Clearly, too much time had passed and many things from that clan had been lost. No wonder. However, it has been so long after all. It's a fluke that your clan still exists. The 10 clan leaders nodded in agreement with Lu Ming's statement. Other than that race, who else could condense the ancient god's heart? This was also the reason why they allowed Lu Ming to stay here and even taught him the ancient god tactic. After all, the guardians outside were also descendants of the ancient gods. Clan leaders, is this the reason why you're looking for Lu Ming today? Lu Ming asked again. This was because he felt that the reason why the 10 great clan patriarchs had gathered together to find him was not as simple as this. No, we're looking for you for another matter. The first clan leader paused for a moment before he continued, we have something to ask for your help. You need my help? Lu Ming was stunned. These patriarchs were all at the Divine King realm. Why would they need help from a real god? Lu Ming was puzzled. Right now, we, the descendants of the ancient gods, are facing the joint attack of demons and outsiders. The situation is very unfavorable and dangerous. If this continues, we won't be able to hold on for long before we're captured. The first clan leader said. Lu Ming did not speak. He listened quietly. He knew that the other party had more to say. Now, there is only one way to save our clan and defeat the enemy. That is to awaken the souls of our ancestors. The first clan leader said. Awaken the souls of our ancestors? Lu Ming was puzzled. That's right. In the center of my clan, there is an ancestral land. Legend has it that the soul of my clan's ancestor, the soul of an ancient god, is sealed there. As long as the seal is broken, the soul of my ancestor will come out. The soul of the ancestor possesses a terrifying power. If we set up a formation and control it, it'll be enough to repel the attacks of the demons and outsiders. It's even possible to completely solve the problem of the demons in the northern desolate demon plains. The first clan leader said. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2847 Purple Copper Coffin, Seniors, what do you need me to do? Only then can I release the soul of the ancestor? Lu Ming asked. The ancestor's soul was sealed in a bronze altar in the ancestral land. This bronze altar sank into the depths of a demonic lake. The demonic lake has a mysterious power. The stronger the cultivation, the stronger the rejection force. The weaker the cultivation, the weaker the rejection force. Moreover, only those with extremely dense ancient god bloodline can enter. From ancient times until now, no one from the descendants of the ancient gods has been able to step into the bottom of the demonic lake and release the souls of our ancestors. As for you, you awakened the green-armored ancient god body as soon as you awakened. This is unprecedented in the history of the descendants of the ancient gods. Only you can enter the bottom of the devil lake, break the seal, and release the soul of our ancestor. The first clan leader explained in detail. Lu Ming finally understood. It turned out that the ancestral land of the descendants of the ancient gods was in a demonic lake. People of different cultivation bases would suffer different rejection forces when they entered the demonic lake. The stronger one's cultivation was, the stronger the rejection force would be. It was no wonder that even a god king could not do it and had to come to Lu Ming. Patriarchs, I can go to the ancestral land and release the souls of my ancestors, but if I'm lucky enough to succeed, you have to agree to one condition of mine. Lu Ming said after thinking for a while. What condition? The first clan leader asked. To be honest, I actually know some friends in the outside world. Some friends have also come to this world. My condition is that if I release the souls of my ancestors, you have to promise not to hurt my friends. Lu Ming said. He was still worried about Ouyang Xiangxiang, Yu Linglong, and the others. That's easy. What do your friends look like? Well, let them go when we see them. Not bad. The 10 clan leaders all nodded. This was a small matter to them. Many thanks to all the clan leaders. Lu Ming cupped his fists in thanks. Then, he took out a jade talisman and described the appearance and temperament of Ouyang Xiangxiang, Yu Linglong, Wu Zifeng, and Hai, and the others. He then handed it to the 10 clan leaders. All right, Lu Ming, come with us. The first clan leader stood up first and walked towards the back of the stone hall. Lu Ming and the rest followed. After passing through a secret passage, they arrived at a barren land. Lu Ming, keep walking along this barren land. You'll see the demonic lake in front of you. There's already a strong repelling force in this place. We won't go in. The first clan leader said. All right. Lu Ming nodded and stepped out. He walked into the depths of the forsaken land alone. I hope he can succeed. Once the ancestor's soul is released, our clan can truly rest easy and become stronger and stronger. All right, let's set up the formation. The 10 clan patriarchs sighed softly and revealed looks of anticipation. Then, they all left the place to set up the formation. Once the ancestor's soul was released, the formation they set up would be able to control the ancestor's soul. Lu Ming was walking alone on the barren land. As soon as he entered, he felt a repulsive force acting on his body, as if it was trying to expel him. Roar! A roar came from Lu Ming's body, and the ancient god's heart started to thump. A thick ancient god aura filled the air, and the repelling force disappeared. Lu Ming walked on the barren land with ease. The forsaken land was truly a barren land. It was deathly silent, and there was nothing. Lu Ming began to speed up and continued to fly forward. This area was shockingly large. About half an hour later, a lake appeared in front of them. The lake wasn't big, but it was very strange because the water was pitch black. Lu Ming had seen many strange things along the way, so he did not take it to heart. He circulated his divine power and set it around his body. At the same time, he cast the 9-layered crimson gold armor. A crimson gold armor appeared on his body. Plop! Lu Ming jumped into the lake. At that moment, he felt a strong force surging towards him from all directions, trying to expel him. It was the same repulsive force, but the force in the lake was 100 times stronger than outside. Lu Ming's protective divine energy and the 9-layered scarlet gold armor could not resist the repulsive force at all. Lu Ming was almost expelled. Thump thump thump, at this critical moment, the ancient god's heart started beating rapidly and emitted a thick ancient god aura. As soon as the ancient god aura was released, the external force was weakened greatly, allowing Lu Ming to barely withstand it. Down! Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He adjusted his body and dived into the lake. The deeper Lu Ming went, the stronger the repulsive force at the bottom of the lake became. After diving for a few thousand meters, the repelling force had reached a shocking level. Even the aura of the ancient god's heart could not withstand it. Ancient God Tactic. At that moment, Lu Ming used the ancient God Tactic. His body rapidly expanded and transformed into the body of an ancient god. After transforming into the ancient god body, Lu Ming's resistance increased greatly. He blocked the repulsive force around him and began to dive faster. The demonic lake was very deep. Lu Ming dived a full 8,000 meters before he finally reached the bottom of the lake. A bronze altar. Lu Ming pondered. It was pitch black at the bottom of the lake. Even if Lu Ming circulated his divine power, he could only see a few dozen meters away. He had to look for it slowly. Lu Ming immediately started searching the bottom of the lake. He searched for more than an hour, but he still found nothing. Why not? Lu Ming frowned. He held his temper and continued to search. All of a sudden, Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He saw a ray of light in front of him. It was the light of metal. Lu Ming was overjoyed. Perhaps he had found the bronze altar. Lu Ming strode forward. However, he was disappointed when he walked in. It was not a bronze altar, but a bronze coffin. There was a purple copper coffin that gave off a dim light. It looked extremely old and ancient. Lu Ming was speechless to find a purple copper coffin at the bottom of the demonic lake. I want to eat, Chocho's voice rang out. It actually pounced directly at the purple copper coffin, opened its mouth, and bit down on the purple copper coffin. Kacha! The sound of metal breaking rang out. However, what broke wasn't the purple copper coffin, but Chocho's teeth. The teeth in Chocho's mouth shattered all over the ground. It hurts so much. What is this thing? It's too hard. Chocho bounced back to Lu Ming's wrist and turned into a bracelet, trembling. Lu Ming was shocked. Lu Ming knew very well how good Chocho's teeth were. Any metal that fell into its mouth would make a crunching sound. Even the bronze door, which many Divine King experts couldn't damage in the slightest, Chocho still managed to bite off a piece. However, Chocho actually couldn't bite through this purple bronze coffin. It didn't even leave a bite mark on it. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2847 Ancient God's Soul Amazing. This purple copper coffin is amazing. Lu Ming sighed and his eyes lit up. The material of this purple copper coffin was definitely extraordinary, and it was probably even better than the bronze door. Who is buried in this purple copper coffin? Could it be an ancient god? Lu Ming started to think. However, there was no answer. I don't care. Since I've encountered it, I'll take it away first and slowly study it in the future. Lu Ming made his decision. Cultivators went against the will of the heavens. There was nothing to be afraid of. Since it was a treasure, they could not miss it. Lu Ming tested the coffin. There was no danger in it. He was relieved. He hugged the purple bronze coffin with both hands, wanting to grab it and put it into his storage ring. However, it did not move at all. Lu Ming could not carry her. Lu Ming maintained his ancient god body. He was so powerful that he could even lift a mountain range in the desolate universe, let alone a bronze coffin. However, Lu Ming used all his strength, but he could not carry her. I'll just store it in my storage ring. Lu Ming pondered and took out a storage ring. A strong suction force appeared and enveloped the purple bronze coffin. Buzz! The purple copper coffin was indeed sucked into the storage ring. It was a success. Lu Ming was overjoyed. However, before he could even celebrate, the storage ring actually emitted a ka-cha sound. Lines of cracks appeared on it, and then with a bang, the entire storage ring exploded. Boom! The purple copper coffin landed on the bottom of the lake again, causing the lake to shake violently. Press. He crushed the storage ring? Lu Ming was dumbfounded. Back then, when Lu Ming obtained that ball of icy liquid, the icy liquid relied on the power of extreme frost to freeze the storage ring and shatter it. And now, the weight of the purple copper coffin had crushed a storage ring. Lu Ming was speechless. However, this was also the reason why the storage ring that Lu Ming controlled was not of a high enough level. If he used the storage ring that the King of Gods used, it might be able to store it. The key was that Lu Ming did not have such a high-level storage ring. What do we do? Can't you take it with you? Lu Ming was somewhat speechless. Back then, Lu Ming could use the ice chains to refine the cold liquid and take it away. However, he could not refine the purple bronze coffin. Kid, use this scroll. There's a space inside this scroll, so it should be able to contain it. Bone's voice was heard. Why didn't you tell me earlier that the scroll formed a space of its own? Lu Ming was speechless. You didn't ask, so why should I tell you? Bone said in disdain. Lu Ming was speechless. Then, Lu Ming controlled the painting scroll to fly out and roll at the purple copper coffin. As expected, the purple copper coffin was rolled in. Lu Ming waited for a while. The painting scroll was safe and sound. There were no problems. Lu Ming was overjoyed and kept the painting scroll. After that, Lu Ming started to search the bottom of the lake. Another hour passed. I found it. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He finally saw a bronze altar. It was an altar that was as tall as a human and made of bronze. The material was very similar to that of the bronze door. However, it looked very ancient and seemed to have no spirituality at all. The first clan master said that the ancient god body can break the altar and release the ancient god's soul. I don't know if it's true, but let's try. Lu Ming pondered, then he stepped forward and punched the altar. Boom! The altar trembled and runes appeared on it. These runes interwove to form an array. However, this array did not stop Lu Ming at all. Lu Ming's fist went through the array and hit the altar. It's effective. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He guessed that if it wasn't for the ancient god, it would have been blocked by the formation. However, it was fine for the descendants of the ancient god. Or, it could be someone with a rich ancient god bloodline. The array would not be able to withstand it. Boom! Boom! Lu Ming continued to punch, his huge fists bombarding the altar. The altar shook continuously, and not long after, a cracking sound came from the altar. Lu Ming saw that there was a crack on it. Roar! A roar suddenly came from the altar, and a thick ancient god energy came out of the crack. It really is the soul of an ancient god. Continue. Lu Ming continued to bombard the altar. Finally, the altar exploded with a bang. Roar! Arg! A heaven-shaking roar rang out, and at the same time, an extremely powerful energy shot up into the sky. Then, Lu Ming saw a huge figure appear in the sky. Walala! This figure was too huge. Just its feet were taller than the 8,000 meters of lake water. The lake water in the entire lake was stirred up and filled the sky before it disappeared. Lu Ming discovered that he had appeared in a huge pit. Between heaven and earth, an ancient god stood. It really was an ancient god. This ancient god was indomitable and was at least 1,000,000 meters tall. His entire body was covered in pitch-black scales. Was this the soul of an ancient god? It's too big, my god. Lu Ming gasped. Kid, you really haven't seen the world. This is nothing. Let me tell you, this is just a wisp of an ancient god's soul. A real ancient god is much bigger than this, much, much bigger, do you understand? The quantity formula was good at seizing the opportunity to mock Lu Ming. How big? Lu Ming asked instinctively. Your life planet must be huge. The fist of the ancient god I've seen was bigger than your life planet. The quantum technique said. A fist is bigger than a life planet? Lu Ming was really speechless. That was too terrifying. He was afraid that one punch would cause a star to explode. And this incomparably huge ancient god in front of him was actually just a wisp of an ancient god's remnant soul. Why are his scales black? Lu Ming was puzzled. According to the ancient god tactic, the highest level of cultivation should be purple scales. However, the scales on the surface of the ancient god's remnant soul were black. That's normal. This is the original color of the ancient god. You have cultivated the ancient god's tactic to the point of purple scales, but you are far from reaching the peak. When you reach the peak, you will be black. However, the power at that time, TSK, is amazing. The quantity formula said. So purple scales aren't the highest level. Lu Ming revealed a look of anticipation. If he cultivated the ancient god tactic to the highest level and his scales turned black, would he have the power of an ancient god? To be able to destroy a star with a single punch, that kind of strength was truly terrifying. Roar! The ancient god's soul roared, shaking the heavens and earth. The entire world was shaking. Then, the ancient god's soul stepped out, and the world rumbled as he walked toward the first tribe. Chapter 2848 God King dies. At this moment, somewhere in the first tribe, the 10 tribe leaders had gathered. They had already set up a large array. All of a sudden, the 10 of them looked in the direction of the forsaken land, and their faces were filled with ecstasy. He succeeded. Lu Ming succeeded. Ha ha ha, the ancestor's soul has come out. The ancient ancestor sealed the soul of the ancestor in order to save our clan when we were in danger. Now, it has finally appeared. The 10 clan patriarchs were all overjoyed. At the same time, they were also secretly rejoicing. The ancient god's soul was sealed by the almighties of the ancient god's descendants to prevent the ancient god clan from facing a great calamity in the future. However, the talents of the ancient god clan had withered up until now. No one could break the seal. If not for Lu Ming, they would not have been able to release the soul of the ancient god even if they had it. Boom! Boom! The soul of the ancient god stepped on the ground. With every step, the ground rumbled as he walked out. This also alarmed the people of the ancient god's tribe. What's going on? Why is there such a violent tremor coming from the depths of the tribe? Could it be that something has happened in the depths of the tribe? Many of the descendants of the ancient gods started to panic. Don't worry. These are the ancient god souls released by the patriarchs to deal with the enemies. Don't worry. With a senior figure consoling everyone, everyone felt at ease. In the forsaken land, Lu Ming watched as the ancient god's soul slowly left. He was just about to follow it to check out the situation. "I'll eat, I want to eat," Chiu cried out and flew out. It grabbed a piece of bronze that had been shattered by the bronze altar and began to gobble it up. Crack. Crack. Chiu ate with great relish, and very quickly, Chiu finished eating a piece of bronze. Then, it rushed to another piece and started eating. This round ball is really lucky. This bronze is not inferior to the bronze from the bronze door. After he has digested it, he will probably have a great improvement. Bones said with envy. Lu Ming was also overjoyed. He waited there with peace of mind. As for the ancient god's soul, step by step, it was not far from the first tribe. Great formation, activate. The 10 clan patriarchs started to activate the formation at the same time. The formation gave off endless light and finally condensed into an ancient god's shadow. This ancient god's shadow turned into a rainbow light and flew towards the ancient god's soul. In the end, it entered the glabella of the ancient god's soul and disappeared. Ancient god's soul, kill! The first tribe's master shouted. They took control of the formation, and then the ancient god's soul rose into the air and stepped out of the first tribe. That is, ancient god? The descendants of the ancient god clan were all shocked. They watched as the ancient god's soul flew out of the first tribe and charged toward the army of monsters and demons. What's that? The monster demon clan and the outsiders were all shocked. Roar! The ancient god's soul roared, shaking heaven and earth. The mountains crumbled under the roar. Boom! Then, the soul of the ancient god made its move and slapped at the troops of the monster race and demon race. The palm of the soul of the ancient god was so huge that it could smash tens of thousands of demons into meat paste. Ancient god's soul, it's the ancient god's soul, damn it! A demon king roared. So what if you're an ancient god? I'll kill him. A tiger-shaped demon king with a huge body stood up like a mountain. It stared at the soul of the ancient god with a ferocious look. Buzz! In the next moment, the tiger-shaped demonic devil king pounced directly at the ancient god's soul, bringing with it endless gales as it attacked the ancient god's soul. This demon king was extremely fierce and wanted to tear the soul of the ancient god into pieces. Even though his body wasn't as tall as the knees of the ancient god's soul, he was still very arrogant. Kill, die. The ancient god's soul shouted coldly and pressed his palm down. This palm broke through all of the tiger-shaped demonic king's attacks. It was like pressing a toad onto the ground, pinning the tiger-shaped demonic king to the ground. Boom! 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 The ground exploded, creating a huge crater. Countless demons and devils were affected and died. Ah! The tiger-shaped demonic king let out a blood-curdling screech as it spat out a large mouthful of blood. It had been severely injured in an instant. At this moment, countless demons, fiend kings, and even the god kings of the Qin Heaven Star region were all shocked. The demonic devil king was a divine king expert, but he was suppressed just like that. Quick, come and save me, save me. The tiger-shaped demonic king roared in fear. Kill, die. The ancient god's soul shouted as it grabbed the tiger-shaped demonic devil king with both hands. With a powerful pull, it tore the tiger-shaped demonic devil king into two. The terrifying power even annihilated the soul of the tiger-shaped demonic devil king. He was dead. A demon king was killed just like that. Countless demons and devil kings, as well as the experts of the Qin Heaven Star region, were all incomparably shocked. Roar! The ancient god's soul roared and stepped forward. He clenched his fists and punched out continuously, blasting a large number of demons into pieces. Run, quickly run. Countless demons and devils fled frantically. Want to escape? Kill, kill, kill. In the first tribe, the 10 tribe leaders shouted in unison. They controlled the ancient god's soul and charged towards the demons and devil kings, as well as the god kings of the Qin Heaven Star region. The soul of an ancient god was too powerful. It had boundless strength and could destroy the heavens and earth. With a punch, he killed a demon king in the air. Run, run! With that, the demonic devil king and the god kings of the Qin Heaven Star region were all terrified as they fled for their lives. As for the ancient god's soul, it abandoned the ordinary fiends and focused on the fiend kings and the god kings of the Qin Heaven Star system. Bang! Bang! The soul of an ancient god could kill a god king with a single punch. With 2 consecutive punches, another 2 demons were killed. It then targeted a god king from the Qin Heaven galaxy and chased after him. No, this god king was the god king from the unique Devil Academy. At this moment, he was extremely frightened and was fleeing for his life. However, how could his speed be compared to that of an ancient god's soul? The soul of the ancient god caught up with him in a few steps and punched out with both fists. Bang! Bang! The god king of the unique Devil Academy was smashed into the ground by the 2 punches of the soul of the ancient god. He spat out a large mouthful of blood, and his body almost cracked. It had to be said that the god kings from the Qin Heaven galaxy were all extremely powerful. The other demons were killed by the ancient god's soul with a single punch, but the god king from the unique Devil Academy was still alive after being hit by 2 punches. However, he was also seriously injured and dying. Save me, save me. The god king of the unique Devil Academy let out a miserable shriek and wanted to call for others to save him. However, the others were all running for their lives, so how could they care about him? Bang! Then, the soul of the ancient god took a step forward and stepped on the body of the god king of the unique Devil Academy. This time, he was directly trampled into a pulp of flesh and couldn't be more dead. Then, the ancient god's soul continued to pursue the other experts. The next one was the god king of the indestructible sword sect. This person was also extremely powerful. Unfortunately, he did not manage to escape and was killed by the ancient god's soul. He followed in the footsteps of the god king of the unique Devil Academy. Returning to the Ice Soul clan's base, the soul of an ancient god was brave and invincible. Its strength was too shocking. In addition, it was extremely fast. It could kill ordinary divine kings as if they were vegetables. In a short period of time, 10 demonic devil kings and 5 god kings of the Qin Heaven Star region were killed by the ancient god's soul. Their battle results could be said to be brilliant. Boom! The soul of the ancient god attacked another god king. This person was the god king of the Ice Soul clan. "I'm going to die." The Ice Soul clan's god king roared in his heart, thinking that he was dead for sure. However, when the soul of the ancient god arrived in front of him, it didn't continue to attack. Instead, it glanced at him coldly and rushed past him. Then, it attacked the godly king of the Red Flame tribe and killed him in a few moves. The Ice Soul clan's god king had escaped death. He was on the verge of collapse, but he was also very confused. Why didn't the ancient god's soul kill me? Strange. Forget it, let's retreat with our clansmen first. The Ice Soul clan's god king rejoiced inwardly. He then led some of the Ice Soul clan members and quickly left the place. They fled in the direction of the base they had built when they came. Naturally, he did not know that the ancient god's soul did not kill him because of Lu Ming. Previously, Lu Ming had given the images of some people he wanted to protect to the 10 clan chiefs. The 10 clan chiefs controlled the ancient god's soul and could see what the ancient god's soul saw. The divine king of the Ice Soul clan was one of the images that Lu Ming had depicted. That was why the ancient god's soul had let him go and did not kill him. Kill our way out, kill all the demons and devils. At that moment, an elder from the first tribe shouted. Kill. Following that, the ancient god descendants' army swarmed out and attacked the troops of the monster race and demon race. At this moment, the troops of the monster race and demon race were defeated like a landslide. They had no power to resist and were fleeing in all directions. Not long after, the troops of the descendants of the ancient gods caught up to them and started killing them. The god kings of the 10 great tribes also worked with the ancient god's soul to kill the demonic devil kings, the god kings of the Qin Heaven Star system. This was a massacre that lasted for half a day before it came to an end. As the ancient god's soul was too far away from the first tribe, it was difficult for the 10 patriarchs to control it, so they stopped the pursuit. The army of the ancient god's tribe returned to the capital. The first tribe was in a sea of cheers. This battle could be said to be glorious as more than 20 demons and devils were killed. One had to know that all the demons and devil kings in the northern desolate demon plains added up to around 40. With more than half of them dead, the demons and devils were greatly weakened and were no longer a match for the descendants of the ancient gods. Over 10 of the god kings from the Qin Heaven Star region had died. The rest had all escaped. When Lu Ming walked out of the Forsaken Land, the first tribe was in a celebratory mood. It seems like we've won. Lu Ming smiled faintly. After that, the clan leaders of the 10 great tribes met Lu Ming and expressed their gratitude. They even gave him a pile of heavenly materials and earthly treasures. There were many ancient god flowers among them, which Lu Ming accepted without any hesitation. Not long after, the armies of the other tribes started to return to their own tribes. Lu Ming followed the 8th tribe and returned to the 8th tribe. The demons and devils of the 8th tribe and the experts of the Qin Heaven Starfield had left long ago. The 8th tribe was in a state of loaning. All of their treasures had been plundered. Even the blood pond had been taken in, and the blood pond had almost dried up. Someone has entered the blood pool to awaken the ancient god body. The chief of the 8th tribe frowned. He can awaken the ancient god body even if he's not a descendant of an ancient god? Lu Ming was shocked. However, Lu Ming immediately thought of himself. He wasn't a descendant of an ancient god. After a series of opportunities, he had awakened an ancient god body of a shockingly high level. Yes, but it's very difficult. Talent, willpower, and luck are all indispensable. The leader of the 8th tribe nodded. Then, he gave the order to sort out the 8th tribe. Lu Ming stayed in the 8th tribe for another 10 days. At this moment, Lu Ming bade farewell to the clan leader of the 8th tribe. After all, he did not belong here. Sooner or later, he would have to leave. Lu Ming, you've been working hard to guard the clan and the gate to this world. If there's an opportunity in the future, you can send some geniuses here to cultivate. The 8th clan leader said. All right, thank you, Chief. Lu Ming nodded. He wondered if the 8th patriarch would kill him with a slap if he knew that he was not a descendant of an ancient god. After that, Lu Ming bade farewell to Gu Ming, Gu Hongshan, and the rest. Then, he headed in the direction where they had first entered this world alone. Lu Ming returned to the Ice Soul clan's base after half a month without any trouble. Here, another base had been built. The Ice Soul clan was guarding this place. During this period of time, the 10 large tribes of the descendants of the ancient gods didn't pursue the experts of the Qin heaven star system. During this period of time, the armies of the 10 large tribes headed north and were fighting with the remnants of the demonic forces. Who is it? Someone shouted as soon as Lu Ming approached. It was a critical period, so the Ice Soul clan was naturally on high alert. It's me, Lu Ming. I want to see your 9th young master. Lu Ming said loudly. It's you, young master Lu Ming. The Ice Soul clan members recognized Lu Ming. Wait a moment. Well, report this to the 9th young master. Someone from the Ice Soul clan went in to report. Soon, Bing Qing flew out with some people. Seeing that Bing Qing was fine, Lu Ming was slightly relieved. Lu Ming, you're all right. That's great. When Bing Qing saw Lu Ming, she was also delighted. Brother Bing, how have you guys been all these years? Lu Ming and Bing Qing entered the base and started chatting. After the chat, Lu Ming more or less knew about Bing Qing's experiences over the years. Back then, after they were scattered, Bing Qing followed a few experts of the Ice Soul clan and hid in the forest. Later, they were summoned by the Ice Soul clan's God King and gathered together to act in secret. Later, they joined in the attack on the ancient god descendant. After they were defeated, Lu Ming escaped here and had been on guard. The major forces in the Qin Heaven Star realm suffered heavy losses in the siege of the ancient god descendant this time. There are 15 forces and a total of 15 god kings. A total of 10 died in battle and only 5 survived. Fortunately, the god king of my Ice Soul race is still alive. We're really lucky. Bing Qing sighed. Lu Ming smiled. He knew it clearly in his heart and did not say much. After that, Lu Ming learned that the god kings of the unique demon academy, the Immortal Sword sect, and the Scarlet Flame tribe were all dead. Lu Ming sneered in his heart. This was just collecting some interest. Lu Ming would not let go of their past grudges. However, although the factions suffered heavy losses this time, the survivors also gained a lot. Many of them attacked the ancient god descendant tribes and obtained great opportunities. The ancient god emperor continued. Bing Qing said. A great opportunity? Lu Ming was puzzled. Yes, some people are so lucky that they have cultivated the ancient god's descendants' secret technique, the ancient god body. Once they use it, they can transform into the ancient god's body and their power will increase greatly. Bing Qing explained, her eyes filled with envy. The door opens. What? Someone has cultivated the ancient god body? Lu Ming was shocked. Other than him, there were others who had cultivated the ancient god body. This was beyond Lu Ming's expectations. That's right. As far as I know, there are 4 people who have cultivated the ancient god body. There is a divine son from the indestructible sword sect, a holy son from the unique demon academy, an overwhelming prodigy from the red flame tribe, and my 7th brother. Bing Qing said. There are 4 people who have cultivated the ancient god body. Lu Ming was also secretly amazed. Lu Ming was well aware of the difficulty of condensing an ancient god body. Even he himself had to go through a series of coincidences, with the help of the quantity formula and the bone demon before he could finally condense it successfully. The fact that the four of them had been able to form an ancient god body meant that they were the cream of the crop in terms of talent, luck, and opportunity. From their names, one could tell that the two people who had condensed an ancient god body, the unique Devil Academy and the indestructible sword sect, were both at the level of a divine son. Those who could be called divine sons were people who had mastered divine-grade divine power. At the same time, Lu Ming secretly heaved a sigh of relief. Since other people could condense an ancient god body, he would have no qualms about using an ancient god body in the future. If others could practice it, he could naturally practice it too. Whoosh! At this moment, cheers came from the Ice Soul Clan's base. Then, a few figures flew rapidly towards Bing Qing and Lu Ming. What's going on? Bing Qing asked. Ninth young lord, good news. The gate has opened and the exit has appeared. We can go out now. One of them said with joy. The gate is open. Bing Qing's eyes lit up and she was also overjoyed. That's right. We just received news that the gate has been opened. Many forces are heading towards the gate. One of them reported. Let's go. We're going out too. Bing Qing quickly said. The Ice Soul Clan's divine king had already ordered everyone to leave. The Ice Soul Clan members flew toward the exit like locusts. In this world, he had stayed for decades. In these decades, he had been living in fear every day and his life was in danger at all times. Especially now that they had been defeated, the descendants of the ancient god could come at any time. Now that the gate was open, everyone was excited and wanted to leave immediately. When Lu Ming and the rest arrived, the huge vortex in the sky had reappeared. It was suspended high in the sky and spinning slowly. Countless figures flew into the vortex and disappeared. In just a short while, more than half of the people had entered the exit. Ouyang Xiangxiang, Yu Linglong, Lu Ming swept his gaze and saw Ouyang Qingxiang, Yu Linglong, and the others rushing into the vortex. Lu Ming was overjoyed. He was relieved that Ouyang Qingxiang and the rest were fine. Brother Bing, I'll take my leave first. Lu Ming bade farewell to Bing Qing and soared into the sky. He followed Ouyang Xiangxiang and the rest into the vortex. The world spun around him. In the next moment, Lu Ming realized that he had returned to the ancient god star. Not far away, he flew out of the bronze door. The bronze door. At the sight of the bronze door, Lu Ming was reminded of the purple copper coffin and the altar that sealed the soul of the ancient god. After Qiuqiu ate that piece of copper from the altar, it fell into a deep sleep. No one knew when it would wake up. However, even if Qiuqiu woke up, it wouldn't be able to eat the bronze door. There were many divine king experts staring at the bronze door. Lu Ming. Saint. At this moment, a few joyful voices were heard. Then, a few figures flew toward Lu Ming. They were Ouyang Xiangxiang, Yu Linglong, Wu Zifeng, and Hai, Lu Chang, and a few others, but Zhao Feng was nowhere to be seen. It's great that you're all fine. Lu Ming also smiled. Saint, it's a pity that Zhao Feng is dead. Lu Chang sighed. Zhao Feng's dead? What happened? Lu Ming asked hurriedly. And Hai, Zhao Feng, and Lu Chang were the first three people from Kong Xian's sect to join Lu Ming. Lu Ming still valued them. It's the Tianhong Saint's son. He killed Zhao Feng. We were defeated by the ancient god race some time ago. We scattered and ran back to the base. When we got close, we ran into the Tianhong Saint's son. He suddenly attacked us and killed Zhao Feng, the elder said. And Hai said angrily. Tianhong, Lu Ming's body suddenly exuded a terrifying killing intent. Lu Ming, I'm sorry. I wanted to stop you but it was too late. Ouyang Qingxiang said. It's none of your business. Lu Ming waved his hand. Given the Tianhong Saint's son's cultivation and combat strength, even Ouyang Qingxiang would find it difficult to stop him if he wanted to kill someone. Tianhong, you're really looking for death? Lu Ming's eyes glowed coldly as he asked, where is Tianhong? Lu Ming's body exuded an extremely cold killing intent. Ouyang Xiangxiang, Yu Linglong, and the others could not help but tremble. Lu Ming, don't be rash. Even if we look for Tianhong now, we can't do anything to him. Ouyang Qingxiang said. That's right, Saint, we have to take revenge for Zhao Feng, but not now. And Hai also advised. Where is Tianhong? Lu Ming's eyes were cold as he asked again. His voice was decisive and unquestionable. The Tianhong Saint's son had tried to kill him time and time again, and Lu Ming had wanted to kill him for a long time. Now that the Tianhong Saint's son had killed Lu Ming's desire to kill the Tianhong Saint's son had reached its peak. He was going to take revenge now. Seeing Lu Ming's reaction, An Hai and Lu Chang hesitated for a moment before pointing in a direction. I saw the Tianhong Saint's son leading his men that way just now. Very good. Lu Ming said coldly. He stepped into the air and headed in that direction. Let's go, well follow. Ouyang Qingxiang's expression changed, and she quickly called a few people to follow. In her heart, although Lu Ming's talent was terrifying, he was definitely not the Tianhong Saint's son's match now. After flying for a while, they arrived at a mountain peak. On this mountain peak, there were some figures, about 7 or 8 people. Lu Ming swept his gaze around but did not see the Tianhong Saint's son. However, these people were all from the Tianhong Saint's son's faction because Lu Ming had seen a few of them before. Boom! Lu Ming rushed over directly, his powerful aura pressing down on the mountain peak. Lu Ming! It's Lu Ming! On the mountain peak, those people also saw Lu Ming, and their eyes flickered with killing intent. Tell me, where's Tianhong? Lu Ming said coldly. He stood on the peak of the mountain and interrogated them from a higher position. Lu Ming, you're really bold. This is the ancient god star, not the Kong Xian sect. How dare you come and look for the saint? An old man sneered. Let me ask you, where is Tianhong? Lu Ming asked again. Brat, what's with your attitude? How dare you talk to me like that? Get down here and kneel down, die. The old man shouted coldly. His aura surged wildly and condensed into a huge hand that grabbed at Lu Ming. Chapter 2851 Killing Tianhong. The elder from the Tianhong Saint's son's sect formed a huge hand and grabbed at Lu Ming. This was not the Kong Xian sect, and he had no qualms about it. Lu Ming had actually dared to come to them. He was simply courting death. Moreover, he was treating them with such a high and mighty attitude. He was simply foolish. He wanted Lu Ming to kneel in front of him and then kill him. He had the cultivation of a third-level celestial deity. Wasn't it almost certain that he would be able to deal with Lu Ming? Stop. At that moment, Ouyang Qingxiang and the rest had also arrived. She shouted and was about to help Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming was faster than her. Buzz! A long spear appeared in Lu Ming's hands and he swept the spear out. A huge spear light burst out and hit the old man's big hand. Boom! The spear radiance collided with the giant hand. The giant hand shook violently and then shattered. The spear radiance did not stop and continued to press down on the old man. The old man was shocked. He had never expected that a large hand condensed from divine power with his third-level celestial deity cultivation base would actually be destroyed by Lu Ming's spear. Mountain-crushing hand. The old man bellowed in anger. He unleashed all his divine energy and performed a divine skill. He struck out a few times in a row and a huge palm print was sent flying towards Lu Ming. It only managed to block Lu Ming's attack with a violent explosion. However, Lu Ming had already launched his second attack. Break the sky. At this moment, Lu Ming had already activated his fourfold combat strength and cast the 3 apocalyptic strikes. A dazzling spear ray burst out and attacked the old man. Buzz! The spear's radiance was as dazzling as a meteor from outer space. It pierced through all of the old man's defenses and then went through his body, nailing him to the ground. Ah! The old man didn't die. He was nailed to the ground by the long spear. He let out a miserable and terrified scream. At the same time, he was deeply shocked. He went all out but was not Lu Ming's match and was crushed by Lu Ming. Had Lu Ming's abilities already reached this level? The others, including Ouyang Qingxiang and the others, were also stunned. They clearly did not expect Lu Ming to be so powerful. This scene had exceeded their expectations. However, Ouyang Qingxiang reacted quickly. Her figure flashed and she stood on the mountain peak. A powerful aura emanated from her and pressed down on the other people from the Great Hong sect, causing them to not dare to move. The highest cultivation level among them was only at the 4th level celestial deity realm. They were not Ouyang Qingxiang's match at all. Speak, Tianhong, where is he? Lu Ming asked coldly. The saint has already returned to the Kongxian sect. The old man said with a pale face. I went back first. Very good, they'll send you on your way. Lu Ming said coldly. No, the old man roared and wanted to struggle. However, Lu Ming shook his spear and a terrifying energy burst out from his body. Bang! The old man's body was torn into pieces, and he died on the spot. The rest of the people from the Great Hong sect turned pale and broke out in a cold sweat. They were afraid that Lu Ming would kill them too. Get lost. Lu Ming waved his hand, put away the long spear, and shouted coldly. Yes, 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 those people felt as if they had been granted amnesty. They nodded and bowed before running away in a sorry state. Let's go back to the Kongxian sect. Lu Ming said. With that, his figure soared into the sky. Ouyang Qingxiang and the others looked at each other before following Lu Ming and soaring into the sky. At a high altitude, Lu Ming took out the Starry Sky warship. Everyone boarded the Starry Sky warship and flew to another planet with a teleportation array. Lu Ming, are you going back to look for Tianhong? Ouyang Qingxiang couldn't help but ask in the starship. Why can't I? Lu Ming said. Lu Ming, Tianhong is no ordinary person. His combat strength is far beyond ordinary people. He's not that easy to deal with, Ouyang Xiangxiang explained. Did his cultivation level increase in the past few years? What's your cultivation level now? Lu Ming asked again. He should still be at the 4th level celestial deity realm, but he has already reached the peak of the 4th level celestial deity realm. Ouyang Qingxiang said. Still at the 4th level celestial deity realm. That's easy. Let's go back and kill Tianhong. Lu Ming laughed. Ouyang Qingxiang and the rest looked at each other. They did not know why Lu Ming was so confident. Although Lu Ming's combat strength was very strong earlier, a 3rd level celestial deity expert was easily crushed by Lu Ming. However, the Tianhong Saint Son wasn't an ordinary person. If he wanted to kill a 3rd level heavenly god, one move would be enough. Not long after, they arrived at a planet near the ancient god star. Then, they took the teleportation formation and rushed back to the Kongxian sect. As soon as he returned to the Kongxian sect, Lu Ming rushed to the residence of the Tianhong Saint Son. Like Ouyang Xiangxiang, the Tianhong Saint Son lived on a huge mountain peak with many grand and gorgeous palaces. Many people from the Tianhong Saint Son's faction were stationed on the mountain. Who is it? The people from the Tianhong Saint Son's sect discovered Lu Ming and the rest as soon as they approached. It's Lu Ming and Holy Maiden Qingxiang. Then, the group of people recognized Lu Ming and the rest. Where's Tianhong? Get him out here. Lu Ming stood in the sky and shouted. Lu Ming, how dare you? One of the people from the Tianhong Saint Son's faction was furious. You're too noisy. Tianhong, come out and die. Lu Ming's loud roar was like a thunderclap. His rumbling voice reverberated in the area. That is Lu Ming. Lu Ming actually provoked the saint directly. He's really looking for death. He's simply tired of living. Lu Ming's voice alarmed the other people from the Tianhong Saint Sun sect. Many people flew out from the buildings and stared at Lu Ming with ill intentions. Many people mocked him. Lu Ming. At this moment, a cold voice sounded. A young man stepped out of a luxurious palace and stood high in the sky, emitting a cold killing intent. The Tianhong Saint Sun had appeared. Tianhong, you're here indeed. Very good. Lu Ming said coldly. Hee, Lu Ming, you're really lucky. You didn't die even in that kind of environment. I have to admire your luck. Now, why are you looking for me? The Tianhong Saint Sun sneered. He then glanced at Anhai, Lu Chang, and the others. Oh, right, I killed one of your men before. You're not here to seek revenge for him, are you? Ha ha ha. The Tianhong Saint Sun laughed exaggeratedly. I'm now officially challenging you to a life and death battle. Do you dare to accept my challenge? Lu Ming spoke word by word, his voice spreading far and wide. The entire place fell silent. Everyone looked at Lu Ming in a daze. Lu Ming actually wanted to challenge the Tianhong Saint Sun for a life and death battle? Many people thought they had heard wrong. What was Lu Ming's cultivation? He was only at the true God realm. He had only become the saint because the sect master had made an exception and promoted him. Now, he was actually going to challenge the Tianhong Saint Sun to a life and death battle? A true God realm? Lu Ming, don't be rash. Ouyang Qingxiang quickly sent a voice transmission to Lu Ming. At the same time, Yu Linglong, Wu Zifeng, and Hai, and the others also sent Lu Ming a voice transmission, advising him not to be rash. Chapter 2852 Decisive Battle against Tianhong. Ouyang Xiangxiang, Yu Linglong, and the others all thought that Lu Ming had challenged the Tianhong Saint Sun in a fit of rage because Zhao Feng had been killed. And Hai and Lu Chang were greatly touched. How could they not be touched when he treated a subordinate like this? He secretly swore in his heart that he would do his best for Lu Ming. All right, I promise you. The Tianhong Saint Sun himself was stunned for a moment before he responded loudly. What a joke. How could he miss such a good opportunity to kill Lu Ming? He immediately agreed, afraid that Lu Ming would go back on his word. All right. Lu Ming nodded and took out a piece of paper. He forced out a wisp of blood and wrote the words life and death duel on the paper. He then signed his name on it. With a wave of his hand, the letter of life and death duel flew toward the Tianhong Saint Sun. The Tianhong Saint Sun took it and a trace of doubt flashed in his eyes. Lu Ming's decisiveness and calmness made him uneasy. No matter what, he's at the true God realm. He's only been here for 100 years. How strong can he be? I'm overthinking. The Tianhong Saint Sun shook his head to get rid of the uneasiness in his heart. Then, he also forced out a bit of blood and signed his name on the life and death duel. Lu Ming waved his hand and kept the life and death duel letter. Tianhong, 3 days later, on the life and death battle stage, the first move, life and death. Having said that, Lu Ming turned around and left. Ouyang Qingxiang and the rest followed Lu Ming and left. Lu Ming, are you confident? Ouyang Qingxiang sent a voice transmission to Lu Ming in a low voice. 80%. Lu Ming answered. Ouyang Qingxiang's beautiful eyes flickered. She was shocked that Lu Ming was 80% confident that he could defeat the Tianhong Saint Sun. He could tell that Lu Ming must have had a fortuitous encounter and his cultivation had already reached the 8th tier of true God. However, there was still a huge gap between an 8th tier true God and the Tianhong Saint Sun. Could Lu Ming really cross such a huge gap and fight the Tianhong Saint Sun? Ouyang Qingxiang and the others had looks of anticipation in their eyes. Lu Ming, I'll kill you in 3 days. The Tianhong saint's son waved his sleeves and returned to the palace. Not long after, the news of the life and death battle between Lu Ming and the Tianhong saint's son spread like wildfire throughout the entire Kongxian sect. The entire Kongxian sect was shaken, and a huge commotion was set off. Upon hearing this news, countless people were dumbfounded. Lu Ming is going to have a life and death battle with the Tianhong saint's son? Is that true? He doesn't want to live anymore, it must be true. The life and death duel has been signed. Well, fight in 3 days. Lu Ming must be crazy. Isn't he seeking his own death? Who knows? Let's just wait and see in 3 days. The Kongxian sect's 8 holy sons and holy virgins will probably return to 7 soon. Many people were discussing in shock, but the public opinion was almost one-sided. They felt that Lu Ming was overestimating his ability. A few decades ago, when the sect master had just conferred Lu Ming the title of saint, Lu Ming had displayed his combat abilities. At that time, he could only fight with an expert on the real god ranking list. How far was the real god ranking list from the fighting power of the Tianhong saint's son? Many people couldn't cross it in their entire lives, let alone decades. The Kongxian sect, the experts of the various sects, the holy sons and holy virgins had all returned from the ancient god star and were all paying attention to this matter. Many elders even came out of seclusion to pay attention to the battle between the saints. Just like that, 3 days passed by in a flash. 3 days later, the life and death battle stage of the Kongxian sect was surrounded by people. The outer sect disciples, deacons, and elders of the Kongxian sect. There were more than 100,000 inner disciples, inner deacons, and inner elders. There was a sea of people, all here to watch this great battle. This life and death battle was of great significance. One of the saints was destined to fall. If the Tianhong saint's son won and killed Lu Ming, the situation in the Kongxian sect would return to the past, where there were 5 saint sons and 2 saintesses. Once Lu Ming won, the situation in Kongxian's sect would change drastically. Lu Ming would rise to power and many people would join his faction. He would suppress the other holy sons and holy virgins and even compete with the supreme holy son. Not only these people, but almost all the other holy sons and holy virgins had come, but they were hiding in the dark. Who do you think will win, Tianhong or Lu Ming? Holy Son Jixia asked the other holy sons and holy virgins. That goes without saying. It's definitely Tianhong. More than 50 years ago, Tianhong and I went to stop him in the world of ancient gods, but he didn't even dare to let out a fart. He only managed to survive with Ouyang Qingxiang's help. Do you think he can fight Tianhong? I guess he had some fortuitous encounter in the world of ancient gods, and his strength has improved, so he is full of confidence. Just wait for death. The sacred son sneered. The other holy sons and holy virgins looked thoughtful. The Tianhong saint's son is here. Someone shouted. Then, everyone saw a group of people walking through the air. The person in the lead was the Tianhong saint's son. He was dressed in luxurious clothes and looked mighty and domineering. A group of experts followed behind him. Many of them were inner court elder-level experts. A vast pressure spread out and it was awe-inspiring. The Tianhong saint's son took the lead and landed on the life and death battle stage. Lu Ming is here. Someone shouted again. In another direction, Lu Ming came with An Hai and Lu Chang. Compared to the Tianhong saint's son, the scene was much more awkward. A saint only has 2 subordinates. That's funny. When he's killed by the Tianhong saint's son, he'll only have 2 subordinates. That'll be a new record for the Kongxian sect. Ha ha ha. Some people who had a grudge against Lu Ming mocked him. Lu Ming had a cold smile on his face. Let's see if these people can still laugh after a while. Buzz. Lu Ming took a step forward and landed on the fighting ring. Lu Ming, you really have the guts to come. Very good, very good. The Tianhong Saint's son glared at Lu Ming with a dark look. It's very good. Cut the crap and make your move. Lu Ming sneered. Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. The Tianhong Saint's son's eyes turned ferocious. His body began to swell. He was covered in scales and turned into a dragon man. Great Sun Dragon Claw Hand. The Tianhong Saint's son shouted. He took a step forward and swept toward Lu Ming like a gust of wind. His claws were no different from a dragon's claws as he kept trying to grab Lu Ming. This was a terrifying divine technique that had been cultivated by the Tianhong Saint's son to the 6th level. With the Tianhong Saint's son's 4th level celestial deity cultivation and the support of his sacred grade divine power, it was terrifyingly powerful. It could tear apart a mountain range that was millions of miles long. If the life and death battle stage had not been reinforced with a powerful array, it would not have been able to withstand the attack of the Tianhong Saint's son. Boom! A loud explosion erupted from within Lu Ming's body. The battle symbol art quadrupled his combat power. Lu Ming activated it. At the same time, 6 divine flames burned fiercely, providing him with strong divine power. 9-layer crimson gold armor, 3 world-destroying strikes. In an instant, Lu Ming cast 2 types of divine skills. Chapter 2854 Dermic Dao Battle. Lu Ming cast 2 divine skills, the 9-fold golden armor and the 3 apocalyptic strikes. One was to protect the body, while the other was to attack. Whoosh! 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 Lu Ming thrust his long spear more than 10 times in a row. In an instant, more than a dozen spearlights appeared in the sky like meteors, heading toward the Tianhong Saint's son. Buzz! Buzz! Whoosh! The spear radiance collided with the Tianhong Saint's son's dragon claw. There was a series of clashing sounds, and sparks flew. In the blink of an eye, the two of them exchanged more than a dozen moves. Bang! Bang! Following that, a figure retreated rapidly, taking more than a dozen steps back before he could stabilize himself. The figure was Lu Ming. Lu Ming has retreated. He's no match for them. That's scary. Lu Ming actually managed to block the Tianhong Saint's son's attack. Even if he retreated, his strength is still shocking. This scene still shocked many people. They were not surprised that Lu Ming had retreated, but that he had blocked the Tianhong Saint's son's attack. Many people had imagined that Lu Ming would be killed by the Tianhong Saint's son in seconds. No wonder Lu Ming dared to challenge the Tianhong Saint's son and have a death match with him. He's so powerful. However, he's still too confident and underestimated the Tianhong Saint's son. I don't think the Tianhong Saint has used his full strength yet. That's right, the result is already decided. Some of the inner court elders nodded their heads as they evaluated. Lu Ming, is this your ability? You've indeed improved a lot, but you still have to die. Kill. The Tianhong Saint's son shouted coldly and launched a storm of attacks at Lu Ming. The dragon claws on his hands and even the sharp claws on his legs attacked Lu Ming in succession. Break the air, Lu Ming kept performing the sky-breaking move. Beams of spear radiance burst out and stabbed at the Tianhong Saint's son. At the same time, the 9 ice chains flew out like 9 long snakes. They emitted a shocking coldness and wrapped around the Tianhong Saint's son. Now that Lu Ming's cultivation had advanced to the 8th stage True God realm, the power of the ice shackles would naturally be stronger. The 9th ice chain, in particular, had a shockingly low temperature. Even the Tianhong Saint's son was rather wary of it. He had to avoid the 9th ice chain carefully and did not dare to face it head-on. Every time they clashed, a terrifying coldness would enter his body and try to freeze his divine power and blood. Dragon Wing Slash. The Great Sun Dragon Claw Hand wasn't the only divine skill that the Tianhong Saint's son had cultivated. He used another divine skill, Dragon Wing Slash. A pair of wings extended from his back and slashed at Lu Ming like two heavenly blades. This divine skill was both a speed-type divine skill and an attack-type divine skill. It was extremely profound. The power of such a skill, combined with the great sun dragon claw hand of the Tianhong Saint Sun, was even more shocking. A saint-level figure was indeed powerful. Buzz. Lu Ming performed the 9 heavenly Kuan Peng technique. He dodged and fought with the Tianhong Saint Sun at the same time. For a moment, he was at a complete disadvantage. However, Lu Ming's divine skills, the ice chains, and the divine power that was constantly flowing out of the quantity formula put the Tianhong Saint Sun at a disadvantage for the time being. However, it would not be easy for the Tianhong Saint Sun to defeat Lu Ming. Both parties exchanged dozens of moves in a row. Lu Ming was in a precarious situation, but he was blocked by him. Lu Ming did not use his ancient god body at once. First, he wanted to see how strong a saint-level figure was. Second, he wanted to use the Tianhong Saint Sun to train his own divine skills. Obviously, the Tianhong Saint Sun had also seen through Lu Ming's thoughts. "Kid, you actually want to use me to hone your divine skills. Go to hell, divine dragon materialization art." The Tianhong Saint Sun roared and finally used his secret skill. A 7-clawed divine dragon appeared above the Tianhong Saint Sun's head. It was 10,000 meters long. 7 claws. Lu Ming's gaze flickered. In the past, the Tianhong Saint Sun's divine dragon phenomenon could only form a 6-clawed divine dragon. Now, he could form a 7-clawed divine dragon. One had to admit that the Tianhong Saint Sun was very talented. He had cultivated the divine dragon materialization technique, but it was incomplete. However, he had managed to cultivate the 7-clawed divine dragon phenomenon. "Tear him apart, die!" the Tianhong Saint Sun shouted. He controlled the divine dragon Dharma Laksana and charged at Lu Ming. "Do you think you're the only one who has the divine dragon phenomenon? Come out. Divine dragon!" Lu Ming shouted in a low voice. A divine dragon image also appeared above his head. However, it was a 9-clawed divine dragon. Many people were shocked. They did not expect Lu Ming to know the divine dragon materialization technique, and the divine dragon he condensed was a 9-clawed divine dragon. Roar! The 9-clawed divine dragon roared and pounced at the Tianhong Saint Sun's 7-clawed divine dragon. The two divine dragons wrestled in the air. However, Lu Ming's 9-clawed divine dragon Dharma form was at a slight disadvantage. Although the power of the divine dragon phenomenon was related to the divine dragon's level, and the more dragon claws there were, the more powerful it was, it also had a lot to do with one's cultivation. The stronger one's cultivation was, the stronger the divine dragon phenomenon would be. A divine king could easily crush a 9-clawed divine dragon Dharma power formed by a divine realm expert, even if it was just a 5-clawed divine dragon Dharma power. The logic was the same. Although Lu Ming's divine dragon Dharma power was a 9-clawed divine dragon, his cultivation base was far weaker than the Tianhong Saint Sun's. Therefore, in the battle between Dharma powers, his divine dragon Dharma power was at a disadvantage. So what if you've condensed a 9-clawed divine dragon? You're still not my match. Just wait for your death. The Tianhong Saint Sun roared, but he was so jealous that he was about to go crazy. He had cultivated for a long time, given his all, and spent God knows how much effort to condense the 7-clawed divine dragon phenomenon. On the other hand, Lu Ming had condensed a 9-clawed divine dragon phenomenon not long after he obtained the divine dragon phenomenon art. It would be strange if he was not jealous. As long as I kill him, the complete divine dragon materialization technique will be mine. I'll be able to condense the complete 9-clawed divine dragon materialization sooner or later. The Tianhong Saint Sun's eyes were filled with greed. He attacked Lu Ming with all his might. Lu Ming was in a precarious situation. "Tianhong, it seems like you've used all your strength. However, am still far from using my full strength. Lu Ming's mocking voice was heard. What? Many people were shocked. Lu Ming's ability was far from being fully unleashed. You're bragging, right? It was already beyond everyone's expectations that Lu Ming could fight with the Tianhong Saint's son until now. Was there still more strength that he had not used? I don't believe it. Most people didn't believe it at first. Don't even think about messing up my state of mind with just a few words of yours. The Tianhong Saint's son said coldly. He did not believe that Lu Ming had yet to unleash his full strength. He thought that Lu Ming was trying to trick him and disturb his state of mind so that he would have some scruples and could not unleash his full strength. In fact, most people thought the same. You're too naive to think that you can use this method to deal with Tianhong. Indeed, it's child's play, the holy sons Ji Xia and Fu Guang sneered, but the next moment, their eyes almost popped out. Chapter 2854 Killing Tianhong. Tianhong, open your dog eyes wide and see what it means to be a frog in a well. Lu Ming's indifferent voice spread throughout the entire venue. Then, a powerful aura burst out of his body. Then, his body swelled up rapidly and became bigger and bigger. Finally, he became 100 meters tall. His body was covered in green scales, as if an ancient god had appeared. Ancient god body. Lu Ming had finally used his ancient god body. After transforming into the ancient god body, Lu Ming's strength increased dramatically. He felt as if he had endless power. Buzz! Lu Ming's long spear swept out. It was as huge as a mountain range, and it pressed down on the Tianhong Saint's son. Thump! The Tianhong Saint's son's dragon wing hit the spear radiance, creating a deafening boom. Terrifying shockwaves spread out of the battle platform and in all directions. Buzz! Then, a figure stepped on the void and retreated. This time, it was the Tianhong Saint's son who was retreating instead of Lu Ming. This is the body of the ancient god. My god, it's the ancient god body. Lu Ming has also condensed the ancient god's body. He must have had a great encounter in the ancient god world. It's terrifying. It's too terrifying. As far as I know, only the divine sons of the unique Devil Academy and the indestructible Sword Sect, as well as the two peerless geniuses of the Ice Soul Clan and the Red Flame Clan, have obtained great opportunities in the ancient god world and cultivated the ancient god body. I didn't expect that Lu Ming has also cultivated the ancient god body. Furthermore, his scales are green. That's the 4th level of the ancient god body. It's terrifying. This is Lu Ming's trump card. Unbelievable. This battle is going to be a mystery. Lu Ming had used his ancient god body, causing an uproar at the scene. Many of them had entered the world of ancient gods and knew about the ancient god body. They were even more shocked. He hadn't expected that, aside from the 4 geniuses, there would also be someone else from the Kongxian sect who had obtained an ancient god body. Envy, jealousy, and hatred were the feelings of most people. Ancient god body, you. The Tianhong Saint's son was also extremely shocked. I'll use it to kill you. Lu Ming said coldly. He held his spear and charged at the Tianhong Saint's son. So what if you have the ancient god body? You still have to die, kill, kill, kill. The Tianhong Saint's son roared madly and unleashed all his strength. The 7-clawed divine dragon roared into the sky and finally gained the upper hand. It tore apart the 9-clawed divine dragon that Lu Ming had condensed and pounced at him. At the same time, the Tianhong Saint's son used the Great Sun Dragon Claw hand and the Dragon Wing Slash to attack Lu Ming. Break the sky. Moon slaying. Lu Ming waved his long spear and used the 3 apocalyptic strikes in a row to fight the Tianhong Saint's son. Before Lu Ming had used his ancient god body, he had been at a complete disadvantage against the Tianhong Saint's son. However, when Lu Ming used his ancient god body, his combat strength skyrocketed, and he suppressed the Tianhong Saint Sun. Bang! 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 The two of them kept clashing in the fighting ring. Every time they clashed, the Tianhong Saint Sun would stagger backward. He was completely suppressed by Lu Ming. One had to admit that the Tianhong Saint Sun's combat strength was extremely strong. If it were an ordinary fourth-tier celestial god, Lu Ming would have been crushed and killed in one move when he unleashed his ancient god body. However, the Tianhong Saint Sun was able to fight fiercely with Lu Ming, which showed his strength. However, Lu Ming was still stronger. Ice Chains, Divine Dragon Phenomenon. In the middle of the battle, Lu Ming used two secret skills, the Ice Chain and the Divine Dragon Materialization Technique, to interfere with the Tianhong Saint Sun. The Tianhong Saint Sun was already no match for him. Now, he was even less of a match. Bang! He was caught by Lu Ming's nine-clawed Divine Dragon Phenomenon in a moment of carelessness. The dragon claws almost pierced through his body and sent him flying. He spat out a mouthful of blood as a bloody wound appeared on his body, and blood flowed out. Then, Lu Ming's spear swept across the Tianhong Saint Sun. Bang! Kacha! The Tianhong Saint Sun's body made cracking sounds. Many of his bones were broken. He slid for a long distance on the fighting ring. He lay on the ground and spat out blood. He had no more strength to fight. He was defeated. The Tianhong Saint Sun had been defeated. Everyone was silent as they looked on in a daze. Some people were even dumbfounded. This scene was beyond the expectations of most people. Before the great battle, almost no one thought that Lu Ming could defeat the Tianhong Saint Sun. They all thought that Lu Ming was seeking his own death. Who would have thought that this would happen? The fourth-level celestial deity, the Tianhong Saint Sun, was actually defeated by the eighth-level true god, Lu Ming. He was lying on the ground like a dead dog. Bang! Lu Ming landed on the ground and strode toward the Tianhong Saint Sun. His cold killing intent made the Tianhong Saint Sun tremble. Lu Ming, what do you want to do? The Tianhong Saint Sun shouted in fear. What do you want? Of course I'm going to kill you. Do you even need to ask such a naive question? Lu Ming sneered. No, you can't kill me. I'm the saint of the Kongxian sect. You can't kill a saint randomly. The Tianhong Saint Sun roared. This is a life and death battle. Don't make it sound so laughable. Lu Ming's footsteps did not stop. His killing intent grew colder. Stop. You can't kill the Tianhong Saint Sun. At this moment, someone outside the fighting ring shouted. A powerful aura filled the air and pressed toward Lu Ming, causing him to narrow his eyes. The person who attacked was an inner elder of the Kongxian sect. He was Ying Tsang's master, a peak heavenly god, and a core figure of the Tianhong sect. Naturally, he could not just watch the Tianhong Saint Sun die at Lu Ming's hands. However, there were people from Ouyang Qingxiang's faction who hoped that the Tianhong Saint Sun would die at Lu Ming's hands. An inner sect elder from Ouyang Qingxiang's faction also released a powerful aura and blocked the aura of Ying Tsang's master. The two saints have signed the letter of challenge to a life and death battle. No one is allowed to interfere, so don't break the rules. The inner court elder from Ouyang Qingxiang's faction said coldly. Ridiculous. Tianhong is a saint. It's so difficult to give birth to a saint. How can he be killed just because of a life and death duel? Ying Tsang's master shouted. The life and death duel is a rule that has been formed in the cultivation world for hundreds of millions of years. How can we change the rules because of him? The inner court elder from Ouyang Qingxiang's faction did not back down. As for Lu Ming, he could not be bothered to waste his breath and attack directly. Tianhong, rest in peace. Lu Ming said coldly and thrust his long spear at Tianhong. Ah! The Tianhong Saint Sun screamed. You dare to, Ying Tsang's master shouted, but he was blocked and couldn't help. As for the other powerhouses, they just watched coldly from the side. Indeed, after signing the deathmatch agreement, life and death would be decided, and no one had the right to interfere. Whoosh! The long spear pierced through the air, causing everyone's hearts to beat wildly. The Tianhong Saint's son tried his best to dodge, but he was too severely injured to do so. Pfft! The long spear pierced through the Tianhong Saint's son's forehead. The Tianhong Saint's son let out an unwilling scream. His eyes widened as his life force was rapidly drained. In the blink of an eye, the Tianhong Saint's son had lost all signs of life. The Tianhong Saint's son had fallen. Chapter 2856-1 After another CSISI. Gasps could be heard at the scene. It was a shocking scene to see a saint being killed in front of him. The Tianhong Saint's son had been in the Kongxian sect for a long time. He could be said to be a true overlord of the sect. He was a peerless genius and had the potential to rule the sect in the future. However, he had died before the fight for the position of the sect leader had even officially begun. Moreover, he had died at the hands of a new disciple who had only joined the sect for about 100 years. It could be said to be a tragedy. Buzz! Lu Ming waved his hand and grabbed the Tianhong Saint's son's storage ring. Damn it, Ying Sung's master roared angrily. He was so furious that he wanted to cut Lu Ming into 8 pieces. Once the Tianhong Saint's son died, he would not be able to achieve his goal. Initially, he had wanted to help the Tianhong Saint's son become the sect leader. Once the Tianhong Saint's son became the sect leader, his status would definitely rise. He would definitely be able to suppress the other inner elders in the Kongxian sect. But now, everything was ruined. Lu Ming, just you wait, Ying Sung's master growled in his heart. Then, he looked at the other people from the Tianhong sect and said, "Let's go, take the saint's corpse, let's go." However, no one moved. The eyes of the people from the Tianhong Saint's son's faction flickered. Now that the Tianhong Saint's son was dead, there was no need for their faction to exist anymore. They would definitely fall apart. Since they were going to split up, they had to choose other backers. Lu Ming had killed the Tianhong Saint's son. His talent was shocking. Among the other saints' sons and saintesses, the only one who could compete with Lu Ming was the Supreme Saint's son. Given Lu Ming's talent, his chances of becoming the sect leader in the future were very high. This made many people in the Tianhong sect plan in their hearts. Some of them were even considering whether they should join Lu Ming. You guys. What are you guys trying to do? Ying Sung's master was an elementalist. He glared at those people with anger. Those people avoided the elementalist's gaze and did not look him in the eye. Some of them were even unafraid of the elementalist's gaze. After all, the elementalist was not the only inner elder in the Tianhong Saint's son's faction. Good, you ungrateful things, very good, die. Ying Sung shouted angrily and left with the Tianhong Saint's son's body. Lu Ming, your talent is unparalleled. There's no one like you in Kongxian sect since ancient times. I'm Ronghao, and I wish to join the saint and serve him in the future to help him become the sect leader. An elder flew out and bowed to Lu Ming. You're from Tianhong? Lu Ming's gaze swept toward this person. It was in the past, but Tianhong was stubborn. He dared to go against Holy Son Lu Ming. He deserved to die. To be honest, I've admired Holy Son Lu Ming's reputation for a long time and wanted to join him. It's just that Tianhong had been suppressing it, so I didn't join him. Ronghao revealed a flattering smile. Many people looked at him with disdain. Ronghao was truly despicable. The Tianhong Saint's son had just died, and he immediately sought refuge with Lu Ming. He even belittled the Tianhong Saint's son. However, Lu Ming smiled and did not reject her. He said, "Since you want to join me, then fine, you can follow me from now on." In this situation, there was no need to refuse. If Lu Ming wanted to expand his influence, he would have to accept Rong Hao in public. In that case, there would definitely be more people who would side with Lu Ming, including those from the Tianhong Saint Sun's faction. Many people from the Tianhong Saint Sun's faction had opposed Lu Ming in the past and wanted to join him. Naturally, they had many concerns and were afraid of Lu Ming's revenge. However, their eyes lit up when they saw that Lu Ming had even accepted Rong Hao. Everyone in the Tianhong Saint Sun's faction knew that once the Tianhong Saint Sun died, they would either join other factions or remain neutral. However, in Kongxian's sect, there were many major factions. It was not good to be neutral. Since he wanted to seek refuge, he might as well seek refuge with Lu Ming. As expected, many people's eyes lit up. I'm willing to join Holy Sun Lu Ming. I'm also willing to follow Holy Sun Lu Ming in the future. Many people stood up immediately. They were all from the Tianhong Saint Sun's faction and expressed their willingness to join Lu Ming. All right. Lu Ming nodded and accepted them one by one. This moved even more people. Many people who were originally neutral also showed signs of interest. Lu Ming had risen to power and displayed unparalleled talent. Many neutral people were tempted and were considering whether to join Lu Ming's faction. Humph. Humph. The sacred sun snorted. His eyes were extremely cold, but there was a hint of fear in them. He was almost as powerful as the Tianhong Saint Sun. Now that the Tianhong Saint Sun had been killed by Lu Ming, he was probably no match for Lu Ming either. He knew that Lu Ming's rise was unstoppable. The sacred sun of reflection turned around and left with a dark face. The other holy sons and holy virgins also glanced at Lu Ming with grave eyes and left one after another. Lu Ming. The Supreme Holy Sun's eyes opened and closed, shining with a bright light. In the past, the Supreme Saint did not take Lu Ming seriously at all. He did not treat Lu Ming as an opponent. However, he felt a strong sense of danger now. The Supreme Holy Sun's eyes flickered a few times before he turned around and left. Everyone, the door to my sect is open for all of you. From today onwards, if you wish to join Lu Ming's sect, you can look for Anhai and Lu Chang to register. Lu Ming pointed at Anhai and Lu Chang, his voice reverberating throughout the entire venue. Many people looked at Anhai and Lu Chang with envy. They knew that Anhai and Lu Chang would be highly valued by Lu Ming and become his trusted aides. In the future, they would be able to get whatever they wanted in the Kongxian sect. They were envious. If they had known that this would happen, they would have long sought refuge with Lu Ming. Anhai and Lu Chang were so excited that they were trembling. They were secretly glad that they had long sided with Lu Ming. Although they had gone through some storms before, they had finally made it out. Lu Ming turned around and left after making the announcement. In the next few days, there was a huge commotion in the Kongxian sect. The Tianhong Saint Sun had fallen, and his faction had collapsed. Lu Ming's faction had risen. It turned out that many experts from the Tianhong Saint Sun's faction had joined Lu Ming. Lu Ming did not reject anything and accepted them all. In addition, many powerhouses who were originally neutral came to join Lu Ming. Lu Ming's strength expanded rapidly and he became a true saint sect. He had even surpassed the other holy sons and holy virgins and was on the verge of competing with the Supreme Holy Sun. In addition, the elementalists had led some of the original members of the Tianhong sect to join the Supreme Saint. For a time, the Kongxian sect was in a state of turmoil, and a tense atmosphere spread. However, Lu Ming put all these aside and cultivated in peace. In the blink of an eye, a few months had passed. One day, Lu Ming suddenly received a voice transmission from Qiu Yu. Nine Orifice Saint Heart, this girl has finally come out of seclusion. Lu Ming revealed a smile. Qiu Yu had been cultivating in seclusion in the Divine Pulse Tower ever since she came to Kongxian sect with Lu Ming. She had been cultivating for 70 to 80 years. Now, he finally sent a voice transmission to Lu Ming. Lu Ming flew toward the Divine Pulse Tower. Young Master, Qiu Yu was overjoyed to see Lu Ming. Qiu Yu, you've finally come out of seclusion. Let's go back to where we're staying. Lu Ming smiled. Wait, young master, I still owe a lot of points. Qiu Yu said with a red face. That's right, kid. This girl has been cultivating for so many years. If she doesn't have enough points, she can't leave. An old man guarding the Guardian Meridian Tower said. So. It's like this. Lu Ming laughed. He had forgotten that Qiu Yu did not have many points. She had cultivated in the Divine Pulse Tower for so many years, so she would need at least tens of thousands of points. That was why she sent a voice transmission to Lu Ming. Otherwise, Qiu Yu would look for Lu Ming herself after she came out of her closed-door cultivation. Come, senior, this is my identity token. You can take it. Lu Ming took out his identity token and passed it to the elder. The old man took it and glanced at it. His eyes suddenly opened wide and he was shocked. The saint token, you. Your holy son Lu Ming? The old man asked in surprise. It is. Lu Ming nodded. So, your holy son Lu Ming. I've heard so much about you. The old man sized Lu Ming up curiously. He swiped his points and returned the holy son token to Lu Ming. Qiu Yu, let's go. Wait, your cultivation. As Lu Ming spoke, his eyes suddenly widened and he revealed a shocked expression. He was shocked by Qiu Yu's cultivation. Before this, he had not carefully sensed Qiu Yu's cultivation level. Now that he sensed it, he was shocked. Qiu Yu's cultivation had already reached the True God Realm and she had actually reached the terrifying Stage 5 True God Realm. What was going on? When Qiu Yu and Lu Ming had first come to the Kongxian sect, they had only been demigods. However, in just a few years, Qiu Yu's cultivation had already soared to the 5th stage of True God Realm. This cultivation speed was simply shocking. It was even more abnormal than Lu Ming's. Lu Ming was already dumbfounded. Young master, Qiu Yu was just about to speak. Wait, let's go back and talk. Lu Ming held Qiu Yu's hand and flew toward their residence. When they returned to Lu Ming's residence, Lu Ming then asked Qiu Yu about the details. Young master, I don't know what happened either. After I broke through to the ethereal god realm, something in my body seemed to have awakened, making me sink into deep cultivation. I didn't expect that so many years would have passed by the moment I finished my cultivation. My cultivation has also risen to Stage 5 True God Realm. Qiu Yu blinked her big eyes, also looking confused. Something in your body has awakened? What's that? Lu Ming was puzzled. Young master, I'll show you. Qiu Yu nodded and then circulated her divine power. All of a sudden, a 9-colored light appeared from Qiu Yu's heart. Then, there seemed to be a 9-colored heart in Qiu Yu's heart. It gave off an extremely mysterious aura. Lu Ming had no idea what it was, but he could sense that this 9-colored heart was extremely mysterious. It seemed to contain a terrifying power. Oh my god, this is the 9-orifice Saint Heart. This is the legendary 9-orifice Saint Heart. At this time, Bone Demon jumped out of the scroll and shouted in shock. 9-orifice Saint Heart? What was it? Also, why are you so excited? Lu Ming sent a voice transmission to Bone Demon. Nonsense. You're talking nonsense. Anyone who sees a 9-orifice Saint Heart will be excited. This is a legendary Saint Heart. It's countless times more precious than your ancient god heart. The Bone Devil roared, completely losing its usual calm. Calm down, calm down. Come on, tell me, what's the use of the 9-orifice Saint Heart? Lu Ming sent a voice transmission to Bone Demon. The 9-orifice Saint Heart is mysterious. I can't explain all its functions, but I know the most powerful thing about the 9-orifice Saint Heart is its cultivation. It's said that those who have awakened the ninefold saint heart will cultivate at an amazing speed. Even if they eat and sleep all day without cultivating, their cultivation will automatically improve, and it's faster than others who cultivate painstakingly. Once you cultivate seriously, coupled with some opportunities, your cultivation will soar. Bone explained in a loud voice. This, Lu Ming was stunned as well. He widened his eyes and looked at Qiu Yu. His lips were trembling non-stop. He could not remain calm. Even when he was eating and sleeping, his cultivation could still continue to improve. Furthermore, it was faster than other people's hard work. This was simply heaven-defying. Do you still want me to live? No wonder Qiu Yu's cultivation had improved so quickly during this period of time. I know. This girl's talent in the past did not burst out at all. Her nine-orifice saint heart was only truly awakened when she broke through to the martial god realm and became a deity. Impressive, impressive. Lu Ming, I'm envious that you have such an impressive woman. The bone devil kept talking, his eyes red with envy. Of course, he was only a skeleton and had no eyes. Young master, you. What's wrong? It'll be fine, right? When Qiu Yu saw Lu Ming's dazed look, she instantly panicked. It's fine, it's fine. Qiu Yu, your talent is unparalleled. In the future, your cultivation will far surpass this young master's. I'm just surprised. Lu Ming quickly collected his thoughts and said. Really? How can my cultivation base surpass young masters? Hearing Lu Ming's words, Qiu Yu smiled sweetly. She was so beautiful. Qiu Yu, who had awakened her nine-orifice saint heart, was even more beautiful. She had a strange aura that made Lu Ming's heart skip a beat. Qiu Yu, you're so beautiful. Lu Ming held Qiu Yu's hand and praised her. Is that so? Qiu Yu's face was red and smooth, making people want to take a bite. Of course it's true. Lu Ming smiled. Qiu Yu, what you've awakened is called the nine-orifice saint heart. Your cultivation will be astonishingly fast in the future. However, you must not tell anyone about this, or it will be very troublesome. Lu Ming gathered his thoughts and warned him carefully. The nine-orifice saint heart was too amazing. Once it was spread, it would cause a great uproar. It would be hard to say whether it would be a blessing or a curse, so it was best not to spread it. Yes, young master. Qiu Yu nodded obediently. Qiu Yu, stay with me tonight. Lu Ming said in a low voice. Qiu Yu was flustered and her heart was beating like a deer. This was what she had been looking forward to, but when it really came to this, she was still extremely nervous. Qiu Yu, are you not willing? If you don't want to, I won't force you. Lu Ming said. No, Qiu Yu shook her head and blushed. She lowered her head and said softly, I'm willing. Scared of Lu Ming's room was extremely warm. Lu Ming and Qiu Yu fought to their heart's content. The two of them fought for 3 days and 3 nights before they hugged each other and fell asleep. After that, the two of them stayed together every day and cultivated with each other. Lu Ming would also guide Qiu Yu in her cultivation of the divine skill. After Qiu Yu had awakened her nine-orifice saint heart, not only did her cultivation speed increase at an astonishing speed, but her comprehension had also improved greatly. The speed at which he comprehended a divine skill was astonishing. Furthermore, Qiu Yu had already cultivated the Universe Thousand Dao Scroll to a very high level. Qiu Yu's divine power had already reached the peak of the divine grade divine power. If she were to improve further, she would be able to cultivate the divine power of the ruler of the divine grade divine power. By then, Qiu Yu would be able to cultivate other divine powers and form many divine fires. Her combat power would increase dramatically. Qiu Yu's future was limitless. Time flew by, and 2 years had passed. In 2 years' time, Chiu Yu's cultivation had actually advanced another step and reached the 6th stage of True God Realm. Lu Ming's cultivation was still hovering around the 8th stage of True God Realm. At this moment, a piece of news spread in the Kongxian sect, causing a huge commotion. The higher-ups of the Kongxian sect had decided that the competition between the Holy Sons and Holy Virgins would be held 3 months later to decide who would be the Zongzi. A Zongzi would be the successor sect master, the future sect master. The entire Kongxian sect was shocked by this news. This was because the news had come from the elder council of the Kongxian sect. The Holy Sons and Holy Virgins immediately gathered the people from their factions to discuss this matter. Lu Ming immediately gathered the experts from his sect to discuss this matter. Holy Son, this is very strange. The cultivation of the Holy Sons and Holy Virgins isn't high enough. It'll take some time before the competition starts. One of the inner sect elders said. That's right. In the past, the competition was natural. It wasn't carried out in a specific way. Instead, it was natural for the Holy Sons and Holy Virgins to compete with each other, and the final winner would be the Zongzi. However, this time, the Senate has personally issued an order to hold the Zongzi contest in 3 months. This doesn't make sense. Another inner court elder said with a frown. Kongxian sect Senate was formed by the strongest group of people in Kongxian sect. The elders there were all divine kings and their status was far above the inner sect elders. Everyone started to guess, but they couldn't get a conclusion. Holy Son, Holy Maiden Xingxiang requests an audience. Suddenly, someone came to report. Holy Maiden Xingxiang, please come in. Lu Ming waved his hand. Not long after, someone welcomed Holy Maiden Xingxiang in. Lu Ming, you're probably discussing the Zongzi event that's going to be held in 3 months, aren't you? Ouyang Xiangxiang went straight to the point. Not bad. Holy Maiden Xiangxiang, do you have any news? Lu Ming said. I do have some news. I heard from my grandfather that the reason for the sudden Zongzi contest is mainly because some people in the Senate want to push the Supreme Holy Son up. Ouyang Qingxiang said. You want to push the Supreme Holy Son up? Lu Ming's eyes flashed. He did not doubt Ouyang Qingxiang's words. Ouyang Xiangxiang's grandfather, who was also Yuexin's father, was an important figure in the Kongxian sect. He was a member of the Senate and a god king. That's right. The Supreme Holy Son's background is extraordinary. His father's side and his mother's side are all major forces of the Kongxian sect. Each side has a doyen in the Senate, and there's more than one. They're very powerful and have a very high influence in the Senate. This time, it's the big shot behind the Supreme Holy Son who suggested this. Ouyang Qingxiang said. Could it be that the other board of patriarchs have agreed? Lu Ming said. Of course, there are those who disagree. My grandfather disagreed, but the Supreme Saint's son's backing is too powerful. He has great influence in the Senate. More than half of the elders agreed to the meeting. It's difficult for the other elders to change their minds. Ouyang Qingxiang said. Why did the Council of Elders suddenly make this proposal? It's strange. An inner sect elder was puzzled. It's because of Lu Ming. Ouyang Qingxiang looked at Lu Ming. Because of me? Lu Ming was stunned. What did all of this have to do with him? It's very simple. Lu Ming, you've shown great talent and improved too quickly. It's only been a few years, and the Tianhong Saint's son has died at your hands. Who can compete with you in a few years? That's why the people behind the Supreme Holy Son are afraid. They're afraid that in a few years, even the Supreme Holy Son won't be your match. At that time, the position of the Kongxian sect master will fall into your hands. Ouyang Qingxiang said. Therefore, the people behind the Supreme Holy Son made the first move to gain the upper hand. They proposed this plan. Before I'm a match for the Supreme Holy Son, we'll have a competition and then decide on the Zongzi candidate. Lu Ming followed Ouyang Qingxiang's words. Ouyang Qingxiang did not need to explain further. Lu Ming could already guess what she meant. The person behind the Supreme Holy Sun was afraid of Lu Ming. He was afraid that Lu Ming would surpass the Supreme Holy Sun and was forced to propose this plan. Not bad. Ouyang Qingxiang nodded. Hee, interesting. Holy Maiden Qingxiang, what do you want to do? Lu Ming smiled. To be honest, Lu Ming had no interest in the Zongzi position. The purpose of his cultivation was to improve his strength, protect his family and friends, and break through to the God King realm as soon as possible so that he could find Xian Yanqing. Now, there's only one way to fight against the Supreme Holy Sun, and that's to join forces. Let's work together. It'll help you become a Zongzi. Ouyang Qingxiang said. After saying that, he looked at Lu Ming with bright eyes. How about this? Let's work together. It'll help you become a Zongzi. Lu Ming smiled. You'll help me? Ouyang Xiangxiang was stunned. That's right. When we formed an alliance, I told you that you wouldn't regret it. To be honest, I'm not interested in the Zongzi position. However, among all these holy sons and holy virgins, you're the only one who's more suitable to become a Zongzi. What do you think? Lu Ming smiled. Is what you said true? Ouyang Xiangxiang's eyes were filled with joy. Of course it's true, Lu Ming said. All right. As long as I become a Zongzi and take over the Kongxian sect in the future, I will never forget you and your people. Ouyang Xiangxiang responded. In fact, she had come to look for Lu Ming with this intention. She had long noticed that Lu Ming's talent was too high and his goal was also very high. Lu Ming's heart would not be trapped in a place like the Kongxian sect or the Qin Tian galaxy. Therefore, she had long guessed that Lu Ming was not interested in the position of the Kongxian sect leader. However, she had one. She needed Lu Ming's help. According to my speculation, the other holy sons and holy virgins may also join forces. I'm afraid it won't be easy for us to get through this. Ouyang Qingxiang said. Just do your best. Lu Ming smiled. The lifespan of a god, a star year. Ouyang Qingxiang's guess was right. When this news came out, the ones who were most shocked were the holy sons and holy virgins. The floating light Saint Sun, Ji Xia Saint Sun, Yan Kong Saint Sun, and Xue Tan Saint Daughter all looked terrible after hearing the news. Now, they had no confidence in competing with the Supreme Holy Sun. 2 days later, the transient light Holy Sun arrived at the mansion of the Ji Xia Holy Sun. You want me to join forces with you to help you obtain the Zongzi position? Saint Sun Ji Xia sneered at the transient light Saint Sun. Not bad. The sacred son of reflection nodded. Why don't you help me get the Zongzi's position? Saint Sun Ji Xia sneered. Because my strength is above yours. The sacred son said. You sure are confident that you are above me. Saint Sun Ji Xia sneered. In the past, the Jixia Saint Sun, the transient light Saint Sun, and the Tianhong Saint Sun had all been of similar cultivation. Holy Maiden Xuetan, Ouyang Qingxiang, and Saint Sun Yan Kong were slightly weaker. The Paragon Holy Sun was the strongest. Now that the sacred son of reflection said he was stronger than the holy son of Jixia, the holy son of Jixia sneered. Boom! At this moment, the floating light holy sun's body started to shine. He seemed to have turned into a ball of divine light. 5th level celestial deity, you broke through. Saint Sun Ji Xia's expression changed. In the past, he, floating light, and Tianhong's cultivation had been at the peak of the 4th level heavenly god realm. He didn't expect the floating light holy sun to have already broken through to the 5th level heavenly god realm. This meant that the sacred son of reflection was indeed more powerful than him. Do you understand now? I'm more powerful than you. Only if you help me will we have a chance to defeat the Supreme Holy Sun and Lu Ming. I can promise you that as long as I become the Zongzi and become the sect leader of the Kongxian sect in the future, you'll be my equal. The Sacred Sun said. Equal status? Saint Sun Jixia's eyes moved. That's right, we're on equal footing. It's better than the Supreme Holy Sun taking charge of the sect. Do you agree to it? The Sacred Sun said. Even if I agree to your request, I'm afraid that the two of us are no match for the Supreme Holy Sun. Saint Sun Jixia said. This time, Ouyang Qingxiang and Lu Ming will definitely join forces. The two of us are indeed not enough. Next, we'll look for Xuetan and Yan Kong. As long as the four of us join forces, we'll be able to fight against the Supreme Saint Sun. It's not impossible to defeat him. The Sacred Sun said. All right, I promise you. Saint Sun Jixia pondered for a while, then nodded in agreement. He also knew that in the current situation, only by joining forces could they contend with the Supreme Holy Sun. If they didn't join forces and fought alone, he had no chance of winning. Then, they went to the Yan Kong Saint Sun's and the Xuetan Saint Sun's residences. After some persuasion, the Yan Kong Saint Sun and the Xuetan Saint Sun agreed to work with the transient light Saint Sun. Just like that, a few months passed in the Kongxian sect's turbulent environment. This day, it was finally time to fight for the Zongzi position. The Kongxian sect, the place where the sect competition had been held, was packed with people. Holy Son Lu Ming is here. Holy Maiden Qingxiang is here. The Sacred Son of Reflection is here. Many people cried out in surprise. The 7 great holy sons and holy virgins of the Kongxian sect had arrived one after another. The Supreme Holy Sun had his hands behind his back. He was full of dominance and high-spirited, looking down on all the heroes in the world. Only when he turned to look at Lu Ming would he reveal a trace of seriousness. Lu Ming, the Paragon Holy Sun muttered, his eyes solemn. Just as the 7 holy sons and holy virgins were sizing each other up, many figures flew out from the depths of the Kongxian sect. The one in the lead was the sect master of the Kongxian sect, Long Zhoushan. Behind him were a few elders, all of whom were elders of the Kongxian sect. This time, when the Council of Elders made this suggestion, the Dragon Boat Mountain did not object. No one knew what they were planning. Almost everyone's here. Dragon Boat Mountain's gaze swept across the entire place as his voice rang out. The entire place quieted down as they looked at Dragon Boat Mountain. They knew that Dragon Boat Mountain was about to announce the rules for this Zongzi competition. This Zongzi contest will be divided into 2 rounds. The one who spoke wasn't Dragon Boat Mountain, but an old man with white hair. This person was called Zhizun Dong. He was an extremely old elder of the Kongxian sect. He had lived for a long time and was one of the oldest people in the Kongxian sect. He was also an ancestor of the Supreme Holy Sun. In fact, after breaking through to the Martial Emperor realm, it was said that one's lifespan would be endless. However, that was only a claim. Any living being had a limit to their lifespan. For example, in the Heaven Realm's primordial realm, martial sovereigns were said to have endless lifespans. Every 33,333 years, a heavenly tribulation would befall the Void Emperor, True Emperor, and Great Emperor, and many people would die under the heavenly tribulation. As for the Heavenly Emperor realm, there were no disasters and tribulations, and their lifespans were endless. In fact, this endless also had an end. That was because small worlds like the Heaven Realm and the Primordial Realm all had an end to their lives. For example, if the Heaven Realm and the Primordial Realm were destroyed, would the Celestial Arch still be able to live? He would still die. The lifespan of a small kiliacosm would usually not exceed 10 billion years. In other words, a heavenly emperor's lifespan would not exceed 10 billion years. 10 billion years, how long was that? One tribulation took 33,333 years, while 10,000 tribulations only took 3 billion years. This was almost the same as having an endless lifespan. In the primeval universe, the lifespans of deities were similar to that of heavenly emperors. The longest they could live was only 10 billion years. In the primal universe, there was a saying that the lifespan of deities was the same as a star. The lifespan of a star was about 10 billion years, and the lifespan of a god was also 10 billion years. The lifespans of hollow gods, true gods, and heavenly gods were almost the same, with 10 billion years as the limit. When a star was extinguished, a god would also die. Therefore, most people would call 10 billion years a stellar year. However, the lifespan of a god king was much longer. The average god king's lifespan was more than 5 star years. Autarchs, for example, had already lived for 6 stellar years, which was equivalent to 60 billion years. It was equivalent to a small world like the heaven realm and the primordial realm, or a star, going through 6 times from birth to destruction. No one dared to breathe too loudly as they listened quietly. First, let's talk about the qualifications. Only holy sons and holy virgins can participate. Each holy son and holy virgins can bring 3 helpers. The first round will be held on a planet that is about to dry up. This planet has already been occupied by the planet Devourer. Your goal is to kill the planet Devourer on this planet and obtain points. Planet Devourers are divided into 3 levels: Bronze Planet Devourers, Silver Planet Devourers, and Gold Planet Devourers. Killing a Bronze Planet Devourer will earn you 1 point, killing a Silver Planet Devourer will earn you 5 points, and killing a Gold Planet Devourer will earn you 50 points. Alright, the holy sons and holy virgins who want to participate in the competition can sign up with me, the Supreme Martial Artist announced. Chapter 2861 3-Way Tussle Reading Omicron N Novel Cool. Omicron M, Lise, I see. The Planet Devourer. Many people muttered as they pondered. Come up and register. Supreme Martial Artist Dong announced. I'll do it. The first one to register was the Supreme Saint. He stepped forward, signed his name on a stone tablet, and then stepped back. I'll do it. Next, it was the Sacred Son of Reflection's turn to sign his name. After the Sacred Son of Floating Light, Ouyang Qingxiang also came forward to sign her name. Other than the 3 of them, the other holy sons and holy virgins stood still. You guys aren't coming up to register? The Supreme Martial Artist's gaze swept across Lu Ming, the holy son Ji Xia, the holy son Yan Kong, and the holy maiden Xue Tan. I give up on this contest. I also give up. I also give up. Saint Sun Ji Xia, Saint Sun Yan Kong, and Saint Daughter Xue Tan shook their heads. What? Most of the people present were shocked and looked at the 3 holy sons and holy virgins in shock. Jizun Dong's eyes narrowed slightly. Hee, the 3 of you giving up is because you want to help Floating Light deal with me. The Supreme Holy Son laughed coldly. Ji Xia, Yan Kong, and Xue Tan didn't say anything. Their faces were calm, but deep in their eyes, there was still a trace of unwillingness. If it was possible, how could they give up so easily? He really had no choice. The others came to a realization. They finally understood why the 3 of them had given up. The main reason was that the Supreme Holy Son was too strong. If they didn't join forces, they wouldn't be able to compete with the Supreme Holy Son. That was why they had joined forces. Qian Kun, do you have the confidence to win if they join forces? Supreme Being Dong secretly transmitted a message to the Supreme Holy Son. The Supreme Holy Son's name was Supreme Universe. Don't worry, forefather. Even if they join forces, they won't be my match. The Supreme Saint's son replied confidently. At the same time, he looked at the Sacred Son of Reflection and the others in disdain. Humph, do you think you can fight me just because you're helping Floating Light? What a fool's dream. Floating Light, I think you should just give up on this idea. How do you know you're going to win if you haven't? The Sacred Son of Reflection responded strongly. He had already broken through to the 5th-tier celestial deity realm and was much more confident. At the same time, he had also obtained the help of the other 3 holy sons and holy virgins. He might not be unable to contend against the Supreme Holy Son. You're very confident. When the time comes, you'll know what despair is. The Supreme Saint mocked coldly. Lu Ming, what about you? At this moment, the Supreme Being's gaze shifted to Lu Ming. I also give up the contest. Lu Ming smiled faintly. His words shocked everyone present. Lu Ming has given up too, what a pity. Holy Son Lu Ming's talent is definitely the strongest. He's definitely stronger than the Supreme Holy Son. In a few hundred or thousand years, it won't be a problem for him to surpass the Supreme Holy Son. It's a pity that this contest came too suddenly. Lu Ming probably withdrew because he's no match for the Supreme Holy Son. I guess so. Many people were discussing this. The Grand Master's words made him very uncomfortable. He coldly snorted, and many people immediately shut up. Alright, since that's the case, then the three of you will compete. Each of you can bring 3 assistants. Remember, the people you bring must also be from the younger generation. Supreme Martial Artist Dong asked. The Supreme Holy Son pointed at the 3 of them, and 3 young men walked out from behind him. The 3 of them were undoubtedly very powerful. One of them, in particular, was qualified to become a saint, but in the end, he joined the Supreme Saint. The Sacred Son of Floating Light and the others sized him up. He was definitely a threat, not any weaker than them. They are the people I'm going to bring. The Floating Light Saint's son looked at the Ji Xia Saint's son, the Yen Kong Saint's son, and the Shui Tan Saint daughter. Saint Son Ji Xia, Saint Son Yen Kong, and Saint daughter Shui Tan stepped out and stood behind the Floating Light Saint's son. As expected, many people's hearts moved. This was within their expectations. The Sacred Son of Floating Light was indeed going to bring along the 3 of them. The 4 great Sacred Sons and Saintesses joining forces would definitely be an extremely powerful force. I'm going to bring them. Then, Ouyang Qingxiang also spoke. Lu Ming and the other 2 young men and women stepped forward and stood behind Ouyang Qingxiang. Holy Son Lu Ming is indeed helping Holy Maiden Qingxiang, that's right. I heard that before Holy Son Lu Ming became a Holy Son, he was already very close to Holy Maiden Qingxiang. It's normal for him to give up on the competition and help Holy Maiden Qingxiang. Which of the 3 forces do you guys think is stronger and which is weaker? The people at the scene started to discuss. If nothing unexpected happened, the future Zongzi of the Kong Xian sect would be the Supreme Saint's son, the Transient Light Saint's son, and the Holy Maiden Qingxiang. On the surface, the Sacred Son's side is the strongest. They've gathered 4 Holy Sons and Holy Virgins. However, the Supreme Holy Son's strength is unfathomable. With the help of another Holy Son, I'm afraid that their overall strength is even above the Sacred Son's. I think so too. The Supreme Holy Son is too strong. I'm afraid he can fight against several Holy Maidens and Holy Sons alone. The weakest one must be Holy Maiden Qingxiang. There's no doubt about it. Although she has the help of the Lu Ming Saint, the Lu Ming Saint also gave it his all in the battle with the Tianhong Saint's son. He's only slightly stronger than the Tianhong Saint's son. If he and the Qingxiang Saintess join forces, they're definitely no match for the other 2. It seems like the outcome of this battle will be decided between the Sacred Son of Reflection and the Supreme Sacred Son. In terms of overall abilities, many people did not think highly of Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang. Lu Ming heard the surrounding discussions. However, he only smiled and did not care. To be honest, he wasn't confident and could only try his best. Alright, since the participants have been decided, let's set off. Before we set off, let me remind you that points are very important. The final result will be to combine the points from the 2 rounds. The one with the highest points will be the winner of this round. Men, set up the formation. As soon as Supreme Beast Move finished speaking, a few elders stepped forward and waved their hands. Array discs flew out and floated in the air. Soon, a teleportation array appeared in the sky. This teleportation array can directly teleport you to that dying planet. You can go now. The Grand Master waved his sleeves. Bang! Bang! The Supreme Saint led his men and stepped into the teleportation array. Then, they disappeared. Then, the sacred Son of Reflection led his people and stepped into the teleportation formation. Ouyang Qingxiang and Lu Ming were the last to step into the teleportation formation and leave the place. The rest of them waited where they were. The first round of the competition would last for 3 months. After 3 months, Lu Ming and the rest would return on time. The Planet Devourer reading Omicron N novel cool. Omicron M, Lise Lu Ming, Ouyang Qingxiang, and 2 other men and women stepped into the teleportation formation. In the next moment, they appeared in midair. Above their heads, there was a vortex that was slowly spinning. 3 months later, they would be able to return to the Kong Xian sect as long as they returned to this place. It seems that the 3 of us were teleported to different locations. Lu Ming swept his gaze across the room. He was with Ouyang Qingxiang and the other 2, but he didn't see the Supreme Saint's son or the Transient Light Saint's son. It was obvious that they had separated after being transported here. That's good. Let's go and find the Planet Devourer, Ouyang Qingxiang said. The 4 of them flew down. The ground below was deathly silent. A planet devourer was a terrifying creature in the primeval universe. This kind of creature would be born naturally when a planet was about to dry up. They would devour the energy of the planet and accelerate the aging and exhaustion of the planet. There were no trees on the ground and the divine qi was very thin. There were many caves on the ground, densely packed like a beehive. These caves were dug out by the planet devourer after devouring the energy of the planet. Let's go into these caves. The planet devourer must be hiding in one of them, Ouyang Qingxiang said. Lu Ming and the rest nodded and flew towards a cave. At this moment, a figure flickered in one of the caves, and then, a figure rushed out. Squeak. The figure let out an ear-piercing sound. It's the planet devourer. The 4 people's eyes lit up. He did not expect to encounter a planet devourer as soon as he arrived. The body of the planet devourer was extremely large. It was at least 10 meters tall and looked like a huge insect. The 2 claws in front of its body were like 2 divine blades. Especially its mouth, it was big and sharp, full of fangs, very ferocious. Its body was bronze in color. This was the bronze planet devourer. A bronze planet devourer. Let me destroy him. The young man behind Ouyang Qingxiang stepped out with a battle axe in his hand. He was about to attack the bronze planet devourer. Ouyang Qingxiang had brought a man and a woman with her. Their names were Kong Chong and Lu Jia. They were the most talented Heaven's Pride talents under Ouyang Qingxiang. Although the divine power that the 2 of them controlled was not divine grade divine power, it was still the top king grade divine power. Moreover, their cultivation was at the 4th level heavenly god realm. Of course, they had been cultivating for a long time. They had cultivated for hundreds of thousands of years. Otherwise, they wouldn't have such profound cultivation. Among the inner court disciples of Kong Xian sect, those who had cultivated for hundreds of thousands of years were considered to be in the younger generation. Kong Chong's aura bloomed as he circulated his divine power. His battle axe glowed as he slashed at the planet devourer with astonishing power. Squeak. The planet realm devourer shrieked. It twisted its body and pounced at Kong Chong at an astonishing speed. Its 2 claws, which were as sharp as divine blades, slashed at Kong Chong. So fast. Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang were both shocked. Kong Chong was also shocked. He had not expected the planet devourer's speed to be so astonishing. At the critical moment, he let out a loud roar and changed his moves. The battle axe struck out like a storm. In an instant, he had struck out over 100 times, and the shadows of the axe surrounded his body. Clang! Clang! In the air, a dense collision and explosion sound rang out. Then, the 2 figures retreated. Kong Chong and the planet devourer both retreated tens of thousands of meters. What powerful strength! Lu Ming, Ouyang Qingxiang, and the others were shocked. This planet devourer was actually able to contend with Kang Chong. One had to know that Kang Chong's cultivation had reached the 4th level celestial deity realm and his combat strength was definitely not weak. Otherwise, Ouyang Qingxiang would not have chosen him to help her. And this planet devourer was only a bronze-grade planet devourer, yet it had such strong combat power. Then how strong would the silver devourer, the gold planet devourer, be? The few of them looked at each other and saw the seriousness in each other's eyes. It seemed that it would not be easy to get the points. Kill! At that moment, Kang Chong roared, brandished his battle axe, and used a divine skill to attack the bronze planet devourer. The bronze planet devourer also shrieked and charged at Kang Chong. The two of them fought intensely, and after dozens of moves, it was difficult to determine the winner. Let's attack together and end the battle quickly, let's go. Ouyang Qingxiang said as she rushed out. A green sword chi bloomed and slashed at the bronze planet devourer. Buzz! The sword chi slashed at the planet devourer's sharp claw and left a deep mark, almost cutting the claw in half. Although Ouyang Xiangxiang's cultivation was also at the 4th level celestial deity realm, her strength was much stronger than Kang Chong's. Her first move completely suppressed the planet devourer. Song of the Green Lotus Sword, die! Ouyang Qingxiang shouted. Green sword chi bloomed and enveloped the planet devourer. Although the planet devourer was powerful, he was still completely suppressed. After a few moves, the sword light flashed and the planet devourer's head was cut off. With a wave of her hand, Ouyang Qingxiang kept the planet devourer's head. When the time came, she would only need to bring the planet devourer's head back to calculate the points. Let's go. Then, the four of them rushed into a cave. The entire planet seemed to have been dug through. It was filled with caves that extended in all directions, like a maze. The four of them followed a cave and flew aimlessly. Unfortunately, after searching for a few hours, he didn't find a single devourer. It seems like there aren't many planet devourers. Lu Ming frowned. Then what should we do? If this continues, 3 months will pass by very quickly. If we're unlucky and don't find many planet devourers, we won't be able to compete with the other two sides. Kang Chong said anxiously. In Kang Chong and Lu Jie's hearts, their side was the weakest. They couldn't compare to the Supreme Saint Sun and the Transient Light Saint Sun. Thus, this round was extremely important. If their points in the first round were higher, they could still compete with the other two teams. If their points in the first round were not as high as the other two teams, then there was really no point in competing. The devourer's habit is to devour the energy of a planet, so it must be very sensitive to energy. Let's leave these caves and go to the surface. Then, we can use divine crystals or gemstones to emit energy waves. Perhaps it can attract the devourer. Lu Ming said. Ouyang Xiangxiang, Kang Chong, and Lu Jie's eyes lit up. Holy Son Lu Ming is really sharp. Kang Chong is impressed. Kang Chong cupped his fists and said. Let's go and try. Lu Ming said. Then, the four of them flew upwind. They could not be bothered to return through the tunnel. They bombarded the rocks directly and broke through the rocks until they reached the surface. Chapter 2861 Consecutive Battles Reading Omicron N Novel Cool. Omicron M, Lease. After reaching the surface, they took out a large number of divine crystals, precious gemstones, and all kinds of blacksmithing materials. They activated them with divine power, sending energy fluctuations far and wide. The few of them just waited like that. In the blink of an eye, a few hours had passed. Squeak, a sharp voice came from the distance. They're here. The eyes of Ouyang Qingxiang and the others lit up. Whoosh! Whoosh! In the distance, a few figures rushed over like lightning. There were a total of 5 planet devourers, all of which were bronze level. hard work paid off. This method was really useful, and 5 of them were attracted at once. Kang Chong, Lu Jia, the 2 of you will deal with 1 planet devourer each. Leave the remaining 3 to Holy Sun Lu Ming and me. After Ouyang Qingxiang assigned everyone their tasks, she flashed and rushed out. A green sword light bloomed in her hand as she attacked the 2 bronze planet devourers. As for Kang Chong, Lu Jia, and Lu Ming, they each charged at one. Boom! In the process of rushing out, Lu Ming activated the 4-fold combat power of the battle formula and thrust his spear forward. A ray of spear radiance stabbed at a planet devourer. Clang! The planet devourer waved its sharp claws and slashed at Lu Ming like a divine knife. It collided with the long spear and a violent tremor erupted. Lu Ming felt a sharp and terrifying force surging towards him, and he could not help but take a few steps back. The planet devourer was also sent flying by Lu Ming. His strength is indeed shocking. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Then, 9 ice chains flew out and wrapped around the other party. Lu Ming did not use his ancient god body. Although the ancient god body was powerful, it also consumed a lot of physical strength. After using it once, he had to rest for at least 2 days before he could use it again. Therefore, Lu Ming would not use his ancient god body under normal circumstances. After casting the ice chain, Lu Ming cast the divine dragon materialization art. A 9-clawed divine dragon flew out and pounced at the bronze devourer. Apart from the ancient god body, Lu Ming had used all his tricks. He was able to suppress the bronze planet devourer. The 2 of them engaged in an intense battle. However, Lu Ming did not use his ancient god body. His combat strength was not as strong as Ouyang Xiangxiang's. It would not be easy to kill the bronze devourer. After exchanging dozens of moves, Lu Ming seized an opportunity and used the moon slash. He broke the bronze devourer's stomach and severely injured it. Then, the 9 ice chains took the opportunity to bind the bronze planet devourer tightly, causing its body to stiffen. Moon slaying. Lu Ming swept his long spear across. A crescent-shaped spear ray flashed and the bronze devourer's head was cut off. With a wave of his hand, he kept the bronze devourer's head and looked in another direction. At this moment, Ouyang Xiangxiang had already taken care of 2 bronze devourers, but Kang Chong and Lu Jia were each fighting a bronze planet devourer. Ouyang Qingxiang and Lu Ming each rushed to one person to help the other kill the bronze planet devourer. Very quickly, the remaining 2 were also killed by them. In total, they had killed 6 bronze-grade planet devourers and gained 6 points. This amount of points was naturally too little. However, this method of attracting people was useful. They continued to attract more. Unfortunately, for the rest of the day, not a single planet devourer came. It seems that all the planet devourers nearby have come. Let's change locations. Lu Ming suggested. They nodded and put away the divine crystals and gemstones. Then, they chose a random direction and flew away. After flying for more than 10 million miles, they estimated that they were close enough. They stopped, put down the divine crystals and gemstones, and continued to attract the planet devourer in this way. They're here. So many. Kang Chong suddenly exclaimed. This time, in less than an hour, squeaking sounds could be heard from the distance, coming from different caves. Then, from some of the caves, many planet devourers rushed out. 10. This time, there were 10 of them, all of them bronze-grade planet devourers. Their expressions were grave. Kang Chong, Lu Jia, the 2 of you join forces and pay attention to your own safety. Ouyang Qingxiang instructed Kang Chong and Lu Jia. Facing so many bronze-grade planet devourers, with Kang Chong and Lu Jia's strength, they were in danger. Holy Maiden, don't worry. Don't worry about us. Lu Jia said. Kill. Lu Ming was very straightforward. He held the spear and charged at the bronze devourer. As he charged, Lu Ming's body expanded rapidly, turning into a green-armored ancient god that was 100 meters tall. With so many planet devourers coming at once, Lu Ming could not care less about holding back his strength. Otherwise, it would be difficult for Ouyang Qingxiang to fight against so many bronze-grade planet devourers alone. After transforming into an ancient god, Lu Ming's strength skyrocketed. His long spear swept out like a mountain range. Boom! One of the planet devourers was sent flying by Lu Ming's sweep. It crashed into a mountain and the mountain shattered. The planet devourer was already half dead. Lu Ming's strength was stronger than Ouyang Qingxiang's after he used the ancient god body. He could completely crush the bronze-grade planet devourer. Squeak! There was a shrill sound. 5 planet devourers pounced on Lu Ming from 5 directions at an alarming speed. Break the air, break the air, Lu Ming cast the 3 apocalyptic strikes in a row. 5 spearlights burst out and stabbed the 5 planet devourers. Bang! Bang! Although the power of the 5 consecutive strikes had weakened, it still suppressed the 5 planet devourers and sent them flying. 3 apocalyptic strikes, moon-cutting. Lu Ming rushed to one of them. He swept his spear and killed the planet devourer. Then, he attacked the other one. At the same time as Lu Ming made his move, Ouyang Qingxiang also made her move. She performed the Green Lotus Sword song, and green lotus flowers appeared one after another. The sky was filled with sword chi, and the 4 planet devourers were shrouded in it. At the same time, Kang Chong and Lu Jia also went up to help Ouyang Xiangxiang. In an instant, a bronze-grade planet devourer was killed by Ouyang Xiangxiang. Kill, kill, kill. Lu Ming alone killed the other planet devourers and completely crushed them. With every move, 1 planet devourer was killed by Lu Ming. In a short while, the 5 planet devourers were all killed by Lu Ming. Including the first one, Lu Ming had killed 6 of them. At this moment, Ouyang Qingxiang and the others were about to end their battle. Out of the 4 planet devourers, 3 had been killed. Only 1 was left. Whoosh! Ouyang Xiangxiang slashed with her sword, and the last planet devourer was beheaded. However, at this moment, Lu Ming's pupils constricted and he roared, "Be careful. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible." Chapter 2862 Silver Devourer reading Omicron N novel cool. Omicron M, Lise, be careful. Lu Ming roared. At this moment, a ray of light suddenly flashed from one of the caves below. This ray of light was silver in color and was like a heavenly blade. It slashed toward Ouyang Xiangxiang at an astonishing speed. Fast, it was too fast. This ray of light completely enveloped Ouyang Qingxiang, Kang Chong, and Lu Jia. At that moment, it was too late for Ouyang Qingxiang to dodge. And even if she could avoid it, Kang Chong and Lu Jia couldn't. Green Lotus Sword Domain, die. Ouyang Qingxiang shouted. Beams of green sword chi bloomed from her body, forming lotus flowers that surrounded the 3 of them. Bang! The ray of silver light slashed at the green lotus, causing it to explode and shatter. The ray of light continued to bombard Ouyang Qingxiang's body. Ouyang Qingxiang had already used her protective divine skill and was wearing a protective armor. However, when she was hit by the attack, her body flew out and she spat out a large mouthful of blood. Holy Maiden! Kang Chong and Lu Jia were shocked and rushed toward Ouyang Qingxiang. At the same time, Lu Ming cast the 9 heavenly Kuan-Peng technique and seemed to have transformed into a huge Kuan-Peng. In a flash, his 100-meter-tall figure stood in front of Ouyang Qingxiang and the others, looking forward. At this moment, the silver light finally revealed its true appearance. It was a silver planet devourer. It looked almost the same as the bronze devourer from before, but it was silver in color. Silver tier planet devourer. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed slightly. For silver-grade planet devourers, killing one would give 5 points. The silver devourer's eyes were cold as it stared at Lu Ming. Suddenly, it twisted its body and turned into a silver light, charging at Lu Ming. Ice chains, appear. Lu Ming muttered, and the 9 ice chains flew out towards the silver planet devourer. However, the silver planet devourer's speed was extremely shocking. It flashed continuously in the air and dodged the attack of the ice chains. It continued to attack Lu Ming. Break the air, break the air. Lu Ming's long spear burst out and he stabbed more than 10 times in an instant. This time, the silver planet devourer no longer dodged. It waved its sharp claws and slashed at Lu Ming. Clang! Clang! In an instant, the two of them had exchanged more than a dozen moves. Lu Ming felt a terrifying force traveling along the long spear, numbing his arms and forcing him to retreat. What a terrifying power! Lu Ming was secretly shocked. After the collision just now, Lu Ming was shocked to discover that the strength of the silver planet devourer was above his. He had the ancient god body, but his power was still suppressed. Squeak! With a sharp cry, the silver planet devourer's 2 sharp claws slashed at Lu Ming like a storm. Lu Ming brandished his long spear and fought with all his might. 9 ice chains were continuously swung out, but they were easily shattered by the opponent's sharp claws. However, Lu Ming still had a lot of divine power. After the ice chain was broken, it continued to condense. In this way, the cold air on the ice chain still had some effect on the silver planet devourer. Roar! The dragon's roar shook the sky. Lu Ming cast the divine dragon materialization art and a 9-clawed divine dragon pounced forward with a roar. Lu Ming used all his means and finally stabilized the situation. Lu Ming, I'm here to help you. Ouyang Qingxiang stabilized her injuries and her divine power surged. A huge green lotus flower appeared and pressed down on the silver planet devourer. Endless sword qi continued to attack the devourer. Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang joined forces and finally turned the tables. They finally began to gain the upper hand. Although the silver planet devourer was powerful, it had to defend against Ouyang Xiangxiang's attack and Lu Ming's attack at the same time. It was at a disadvantage. Moon slaying. Lu Ming waved his long spear and attacked the silver devourer frantically. Bang! The silver planet devourer tried its best to resist, but it was sent flying a few thousand meters. Green lotus sword domain. Ouyang Xiangxiang pressed her hands down, and small green lotus flowers appeared around the silver planet devourer. The endless sword qi left scars on the silver planet devourer. After being besieged by Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang, the silver planet devourer finally lost and was completely suppressed. They exchanged dozens of moves. Pfft! Lu Ming's spear pierced through the silver planet devourer's mouthpart. Then, Ouyang Qingxiang slashed out with her sword and cut off the silver planet devourer's head. Hoo! Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang often exhaled. They had finally dealt with the silver planet devourer. The strength of the silver planet devourer was beyond their imagination. It was too powerful. Lu Ming could barely fight against it alone. He was not the silver planet devourer's match. In addition, Ouyang Xiangxiang had to fight for a long time before she could kill the silver planet devourer. Lu Ming's body shrank and returned to his normal form. He felt a sense of weakness, which was caused by the great consumption of his physical strength. Lu Ming had the measure formula and he had an endless supply of divine power. However, physical strength was not divine power. Transforming into ancient god form consumed a lot of energy, and the longer he maintained it, the more energy he consumed. Of course, as Lu Ming's divine body became stronger, his physical strength would also become stronger. Physical strength was related to the strength of one's divine body, not divine power. Let's go. Well, leave this place and find a place to rest. Lu Ming said. Ouyang Qingxiang and the others nodded and left in a flash. They found a hidden place and stopped. Ouyang Xiangxiang had been ambushed by the Silver Planet Devourer and had suffered serious injuries. Lu Ming also needed to recover his strength. They stayed here for 2 days, and after 2 days, everyone's condition had already recovered to its peak. We still have to be careful. Don't release too many divine crystals or gemstones to avoid attracting too many planet devourers. Lu Ming suggested. Last time, they had only attracted 1 silver planet devourer, and they had almost been in danger. If there were more of them, they would be in danger. It would be even more terrifying if a gold planet devourer came. If the silver planet devourer was already so powerful, one could only imagine how powerful the gold planet devourer was. I didn't expect the planet devourer to be so powerful. I wonder how the Supreme Saint Sun and the Transient Light Saint Sun are doing. Kang Chong sighed, slightly worried. The planet devourer was too powerful. He and Lu Jie had not been of much help when they had entered, and he felt a little guilty. No need to think too much, let's go. Ouyang Qingxiang patted Kang Chong and Lu Jie's shoulders and was about to leave. Wait a moment. Lu Ming suddenly called out. Brother Lu, what's wrong? Ouyang Xiangxiang asked in surprise. Be careful. Is there something underground? Lu Ming said with a grave expression. There's something underground? Ouyang Xiangxiang, Kang Chong, and Lu Jie's expressions changed as they focused their senses. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. The Injured Golden Devourer reading Omicron N novel cool. Omicron M, Lease boom. 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 Ouyang Qingxiang and the others sensed around and indeed, they heard a muffled sound coming from underground. It was as if something was traveling underground and was coming toward them. Lu Ming and the other 3 circulated their divine power and set up a defense around their bodies. They focused their senses. Boom. 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 The rumbles from the ground grew louder and louder, and so did the tremors. Up in the air. Lu Ming's expression suddenly changed and he shouted. Bang! At this moment, the ground exploded and a golden ray of light shot towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming did not have much time to think. He waved his long spear and placed it in front of him. Clang! With an earth-shattering sound, Lu Ming's body was sent flying backward, smashing through a mountain peak. Lu Ming. Saint. Ouyang Qingxiang and the others were shocked. Don't worry about me, quickly get into the air. Lu Ming roared and rushed out of the rubble. He soared into the sky, a trace of blood flowing from the corner of his mouth. At the same time, Ouyang Qingxiang and the others also rushed into the sky. Bang! The ground exploded, and a huge creature appeared on the ground. The planet devourer. The only difference was that this planet devourer was extremely burly. Standing on the ground, it was at least 30 meters tall and was completely golden in color. The gold planet devourer. Lu Ming and the other 3 felt their hearts tremble. Kang Chong and Lu Jie's faces were especially pale. The gold planet devourer had actually come to find them. No, this planet devourer is injured. Look, there's a wound on its abdomen. Lu Ming suddenly spoke. Ouyang Xiangxiang and the others looked carefully and saw many wounds on the golden planet devourer. That seems to be a fist mark. What terrifying power! Who could leave a fist mark on the golden planet devourer? Kang Chong's face turned pale. It's the Supreme Divine Fist. It's the work of the Supreme Holy Sun. This golden devourer might have escaped after being injured by the Supreme Holy Sun. It just happened to come to our side. Ouyang Qingxiang said. An injured gold planet devourer. A cold glint flashed in Lu Ming's eyes. No wonder he felt that although the devourer of the gold planet was strong, it was not too strong. After all, he was caught off guard just now. Moreover, he had blocked the other party's attack in his normal state. Kill him. Lu Ming said coldly. All right. Ouyang Qingxiang was also a decisive person, so she immediately nodded. 1 gold planet devourer was worth 50 points. One needed to kill 50 bronze planet devourers or 10 silver planet devourers to get that amount of points. Since they had encountered an injured golden devourer, they could not miss it. However, it was clear that they wanted to kill the golden planet devourer, and the golden planet devourer wanted to kill them too. Squeak. The gold planet devourer let out a sharp cry and stomped on the ground. The ground exploded and the gold planet devourer turned into a few gold sabers. It soared into the sky and charged toward Lu Ming, Ouyang Xiangxiang, and the others. Kill! Lu Ming shouted and his body began to grow rapidly, turning into an ancient god that was 100 meters tall. He held his spear and charged at the golden planet devourer. Song of the Green Lotus Sword. Ouyang Qingxiang also made her move. A sword chi as thick as a mountain slashed at the golden planet devourer. Boom! Boom! The attacks of the two sides collided, creating a violent explosion spreading energy everywhere. Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang's bodies trembled and they retreated backward. However, the golden planet devourer's body also drifted back tens of thousands of meters. This move was evenly matched, but Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang's faces revealed joy. This golden planet devourer was indeed injured, and its combat power was severely affected. They could still fight it. Song of the Green Lotus Sword, sword shaking the world, die. Ouyang Qingxiang shouted. Her entire body was enveloped by a green sword light. A huge green lotus flower appeared under her feet. Its petals spun and wrapped around her. She seemed to have turned into a green sword chi that descended from the sky and slashed at the golden planet devourer. Ice chains, divine dragon phenomenon, 3 world-ending strikes. In an instant, Lu Ming used all kinds of divine skills and secret skills. All sorts of attacks were launched at the golden planet devourer at the same time. Squeak. The golden planet devourer shrieked. Its 2 front claws were like 2 golden sabers. When it slashed out, 2 golden divine lights burst out. Boom! Boom! The attacks from both sides dissipated, but they didn't stop at all. Both sides launched their next round of attacks. Kang Chong and Lu Jia couldn't interfere in this battle at all, so they could only wait at the side. They could only see 3 figures flashing and colliding in the air, creating terrifying waves of energy. Every time they collided, rings of energy ripples would spread out in all directions. The 2 of them could only retreat. The 2 sides fought to the death. Divine Dragon Materialization Art, Lu Ming let out a long howl. He felt the blood in his body boiling, and a dragon's roar came from his body. Roar! Roar! 2 dragon roars were heard. 2 9-clawed divine dragons appeared above Lu Ming's head. Lu Ming's divine dragon materialization art had a breakthrough at the critical moment and condensed 2 divine dragon images in one go. The 2 9-clawed divine dragons roared and pounced on the golden planet devourer from 2 directions. Up until now, the 2 sides had been fighting for nearly 100 moves. The gold planet devourer was injured in the end and its combat strength had been greatly reduced. In addition, its injuries had flared up during the fierce battle and it was gradually losing to Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang. Holy Maiden Qingxiang, you trap it for a while. It'll attack its injured area. Lu Ming sent a voice transmission to Ouyang Qingxiang. Leave it to me. Ouyang Xiangxiang replied. Green Lotus Sword Domain, die. Ouyang Qingxiang shouted as she waved the sword in her hand in a mysterious way. Endless green lotus sword chi burst out and formed a green lotus sword realm, pressing down on the golden planet devourer. The green lotus sword domain formed by the boundless sword chi wasn't very powerful, but it was very effective in trapping enemies. The golden planet devourer was suppressed by the green lotus sword domain. Although it waved its two front claws to split the green lotus sword domain, it was still blocked by the endless sword chi and its movements were still stiff. Lu Ming wanted this opportunity. 3 apocalyptic strikes, break the sky. Lu Ming became one with the spear and turned into a dazzling spear ray. He cut through the void and stabbed at the Golden Planet Devourer. Lu Ming was aiming at the fist mark on the chest of the Golden Planet Devourer. The Golden Planet Devourer was covered in a layer of armor. It was very hard and difficult to break. However, the carapace on its abdomen was the thinnest, and it had been injured. There were a few fist marks, which was its weakness. Lu Ming's long spear accurately pierced the Golden Planet Devourer's abdomen, leaving a fist print. Break! Lu Ming let out a long howl, and his divine power burst out madly. Puchi! The spear finally pierced through the Golden Planet Devourer's shell. You're tuning into the Biyao's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.